On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and maybe Nick will be talking to Johnny Osage Avenue to learn more about the customizing game and his fandom. After the chat, Matt and hopefully Nick will break down the latest episode of The Bad Batch, aka Star Wars Rebel Zero. They will also look forward to the remaining episodes and what may be in store for the gang. A possible release window for Mando S3 will be touched on as well, thanks to a leaked Screen Comics listing that outed some dates. The newly announced Ronin novel will also get some love before the show moves into new toy talk, starring Plastic Dave Filoni and his must-have Trapper Wolf Black Series figure. Finally, someone will close out the show with this week's fan segment, complete with questions of the week responses and a fresh batch of top 5 Star Wars artist features to appreciate. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody! Welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show in full. That's right, I'm back. I'm done farting around. I've got enough diseases to last through the summer. Okay, so going to an amusement park for 3 days in northern Ohio, not the best idea. It was fun, Nick. It was fun. I missed talking Star Wars. And yes, we have a guest today. I'll get to our good friend Johnny Osage Avenue soon. But I do want to talk about within 2 days of going to an amusement park, my little kid got sick. Oh, and now my wife is sick. And now I'm starting to feel the sniffles. So I do not believe it's COVID, but it's just people spreading their germs,
people funk,
inhaling it. I mean, we went to Cedar Point. Are you guys familiar with Cedar Point? I mean, I know it's huge here in the Midwest and the East Coast because it is America's roller coast. But again, it's in Ohio, Midwest. You get a lot of those knuckleheads up there. I mean, hey, wear a mask if you're not vaccinated. There wasn't a single mask in 3 days there, so.
Well, that means they were all vaccinated, right?
Yeah,
right.
Be careful, my friends. I know we all want to get out and again, and trust me, it was fun. It was hot as fuck, standing in lines for rides, but it was enjoyable. But it was definitely a reminder that I do not like humans. I will continue not to like humans, and I have no problem just chilling here in the Star Wars Time Show man cave headquarters for the rest of my life. But anyways, enough about me. This is a Star Wars Time Show guest day. Yes, if you're on the live stream, you can see we have the talented Johnny Osage Avenue. That's at least his handle on Instagram. So for those of you that like to write things down, it's Johnny_OSAGE_AVE. Welcome to the program, Johnny. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm really super stoked to be on. Like, really excited.
Yeah,
before we're talking, you guys are part of my Tuesday, Wednesday fix.
There we go.
And we appreciate that. You know, me in particular, I'm the narcissist of the show. Anytime anyone tells me or the show in general that they like us, it makes me smile. So it helps heal the wounds a bit from last week's solo episode where the first comment on YouTube was, man, it was so refreshing to hear you, Nick, without getting stepped on all the time. So that's two anti-main dude comments so far. We don't get a lot that actually critique the show itself, but the two we have gotten right here, the main dude has gotten some pretty negative feedback. So I'm just going to shut up and let Nick talk the rest of it. No, I mean, hey, I get it. There are some episodes, and Johnny, I don't know if you notice it as a fan, but there are some episodes when I get off, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just murdered Nick that episode. Like the poor guy's trying to tell a story, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, really, this lore is not, blah, 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 blah. You hear my angry ass barking over him. So whatever your name is, the rule of two, I will try to take your feedback to heart and get a little better at that, because it is something that I've noticed myself. I just get a little too excited, and we all know this. I think I'm God's gift to Star Wars fans. So when I have a thought or an idea, I just start spewing it out, whether Nick is on a great run himself or not. So apologies, my friend. I will try to yield the floor to you more often than not.
Amen. We all got to get our takes in, right? It's a limited time that we got to work together, so we got to get our takes in while we got the time.
There is some times where I am definitely the Palpatine to your Vader. I just do not let you get
my limbs off.
Yeah, I do not let you get a word in edgewise. But hey, we're not here to talk to Matt and Nick. We're here to talk to Johnny, who, if you're not in the toy community on Instagram, you might not be familiar with his work, but Johnny's one of my personal favorite Star Wars action figure customizers. So correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but your arena is creating custom figures, but also doing some paint jobs on custom dioramas, accessories, so on and so forth. So I wouldn't necessarily say that you're in it for the toy photography. You're there to kind of support the toy photographers with dio bits, but also to show off some of your kick-ass customs, which, again, if you're on the live stream, hopefully you can see. We're on Johnny's Instagram page here. We've got some of his more recent work. I know you kind of team up with some other fans of the show here with the Bat 2797 crew to do some of your work. But that's why Johnny is here. You know, we do interview people that are involved in Star Wars, but we also love interviewing fans of our little silly show, but just fans of Star Wars and making art that honors the Star Wars. So like we always do, Johnny, let's get down to it. When did you realize that Star Wars was going to be a kind of a life-altering type of pop culture entry for young Johnny? Oh. Did you get into it young, or are you like Nick, a little later down the path in life?
I hate Star Wars. Age of 5.
Wow.
My brothers and sisters wanted to go watch it. So like I was 5 years old. The second youngest was 9, and the rest were like teenagers, young adults, and they couldn't go without taking their stupid kid brother. So I was stoked because I was like, I'm gonna get popcorn. I didn't know what it was. I was gonna get popcorn, some soda, stuff my face, and so they took me, and this was sometime. This is when in 77 or so. I don't remember which month, but I remember when we went to a man's theater because those were big at that time. And, all I know is that it had a balcony. So I'm sitting there. So it was like, five of us went, or 4 of us went, whatever. 5 of us went. And so my brother and I had to sit somewhere else because it was packed. And we sat on the balcony, and so I'm sitting there, and we're front row balcony. I'm sitting there and I'm just stuffing my face. And then all of a sudden those lights go off, and I don't remember anything but the blare, that boom, and I don't think I ate or drank anything the entire time because I was just like, and then after that, everything was Star Wars. I mean, I was like, just everything was Star Wars. And after that, it was just everything. And so I got some toys like pretty early on. I know that by the time I was 6, I was pretty loaded with toys. But between the movie and toys coming out, Fisher Price would make Adventure People. And I think probably my first custom was there was this one character or figure that had some black pants, some blue shirt, and like a vest. So I remember painting the white or the blue shirt with some white out. So like old school white out, the paint on kind, the brush on kind. So it can be a Han Solo or something like that. And
look at that
again.
So your art form literally coincides with your first screening. You already decided, hey, I saw this. It wowed me. I'm already going to start customizing my figures because back in those days, my friends, there's a lot of younger fans that bitch and moan about Hasbro, as they should. But, Johnny makes a point, especially after the first movie. There really was nothing to collect or honor or recreate the scenes that, little kids just kind of witness taking place there, like Johnny said. So I find that amazing that way back then you were already customizing.
Yeah, I mean, it was drawing things, it was building things. You use Lego pieces to build things and make, I guess what you would call now dioramas, and just hacking at whatever you could to pretend that it was that toy. And then as soon as it started coming out, it was like, it was like Toys R Us, Montgomery. I mean, I don't know, people will know. I'm almost 50, so Montgomery Wards. There was a place like a Target that is now with like food. It was called Gemco. I don't know if they have. Did
you guys have a Children's Palace out west, a toy store? Or was that an East Coast?
That might have been an East Coast thing.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Because we had those in
Palace.
Pittsburgh. It was Toys R Us, KB Toys, and Children's Palaces. Those were the toy stores I remember from my own childhood.
Yeah. So so it was like everything, And then as soon as the movie started coming out, it was getting those toys, getting those vehicles, and also playing hard with them. I believe all of my figures from when I was a kid. Vehicles didn't make it.
Oh yeah.
they were
Johnny, your figures, like all the paint's kind of worn off. You got like missing hand pieces. I mean, because I have mine too. So like their noses will be worn out, or they're just covered in mud still.
So I remember I was stoked to get the Hoth Rebel Trooper, and I take him out of the package, and his arm like broke off. So it was taking it to the burner in the kitchen and melting it down and just sticking it back on.
You go.
So he had, again, he's still like that.
honing his craft at an early age. I find it amazing because it's usually. Now, did any of your other family members get bit by the Star Wars bug, or was it just young Johnny was the only one that was blown away by it? They didn't care. I had one nephew, because again, I'm so down the road in my line of family that by the time my brothers and sisters started having kids, they're kind of my age. I had one nephew that had toys, but he didn't really care for them. Like he got them, he didn't really care, but nobody was so crazy about Star Wars like I was. So did you steal your nephew's toys because he didn't care about them? Did you borrow them in quotes?
That little asshole. I had to give him my Walrus Man. I remember when I had my Walrus Man, or whatever the Graham Pumbaa, whatever his real name is. He didn't have it. He wanted it, and I had to give it to him. And I was like, "What the fuck? He doesn't even like his stuff." But
that's some shit. Was that like a big brother, big sister kind of putting the thumb down, like, "Hey, Johnny"?
That was
grandma and grandpa.
So that was mom. So she had to listen.
She's like, "Grow up, Johnny. Just give it to your nephew." And be like, "He's older than me." Because Nick, I don't know about you, but that's an interesting way for, I think, a fan to become a super fan. Because usually, especially for people I include myself in Johnny's era. I mean, I was born 80, so I'm a little younger, but it was still during the OT. They were still actively coming out. And obviously, I got into it through a parent. That's usually how it happens when you are, tiny. But I do kind of find it fascinating that he kind of just got drug along with the older siblings. And he was the one to kind of, like I said, get bit, and that's what it is. That's what it feels like, at least to me. It was the first time you see this thing, it just completely consumes your soul. It's like, what the hell? Is this real?
Yeah, totally.
When can I fly an X-Wing? When can I get a lightsaber? I mean, it was that type of stuff. But very rarely do you have just a little kid just kind of stumble into it and then become a super fan. So I appreciate your first foray into the Star Wars.
Built into the DNA for some people.
Yeah, and then
like
just how
as soon as you see it, boom,
it plays happens. Right into his customization. Which again, if you're on the live stream, you can see some of his pieces, and we'll be diving into some of those more in depthly here after we get through interrogating Johnny about his love of Star Wars. So we like favorites over here, right? You know, you can't just enjoy Star Wars. You got to do very black and white type of choices. You know, kind of a what is it? Marry, fuck, kill type of shit. But you know, we've got the trilogies out there. We've got the standalones. Are you someone that has a clear favorite at this point in time, like a favorite Star Wars film trilogy, if you will?
I mean, again, I think it was funny because when you guys interviewed Trevor, I was like, and I was listening to that, I was like, wait, we're probably about the same age because we were going through the same kind of same kind of stuff. Luckily, I didn't read as much.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you spoil the Luke and Vader thing from Empire like he did?
No. But I would have to say Empire, and I think, you know, for what it is, it was, you know, I probably watched Star Wars twice before I ever saw Empire. Like that one time with the first time, initial time, then of course I had to see it again. But Empire was, I mean, something I couldn't get enough of. Like anytime somebody was going to go watch it, I needed to watch it. To this day, it's my favorite film.
As it is for most fans, and I'm an outlier here, like, because I specifically remember my experience with Empire as a young kid, maybe too young. You know, the Hothwampa fucked me up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I used to be a little bit of a scaredy cat. The Rancor did too in Jedi, to be fair. But I just remember as a kid not loving Empire. Probably, again, I was watching it at 1 or 2, so I had zero emotional capacity to handle like bad guys losing. And that's all I still remember about Empire is like that movie made me upset because, I'm sorry, I meant the good guys lose. It's a movie for very young kids that, you know, sometimes what goes down and, you know, Luke getting fucked up and Han getting fucked up. At the end, you're just like, holy shit, that was a downer of an experience compared to the first one. So while I respect ESB's, it is, I think a lot of, you know, go ahead. It's the best for most fans. But for me, it never resonated that way because of how upsetting the content was to my young, little emotionless brain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, shit. I mean, the fact that Han Solo is dead, right? Or he gets frozen or whatever. You don't know if there's going to be... Yeah. You're hoping that he's going to be rescued, or you're hoping that he's going to be alive, but he's basically dead. And so, you know... You anticipate that. Now as an adult, I mean, you can think, shit, this is beautifully planned, right? Because it's leading to that next one. I think that with all the other movies and even the animated stuff, it leaves these areas where you're like, you're jonesing for that next one. Where is it? Because I need to see what happens, you know? And so it's, I mean, again, as kids, we don't, I think, you know, it's like, oh shit, that person got killed, or they're not supposed to win and they're not supposed to that. And all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, you realize these things. So
when you look at the OT, like the OT is very interesting because even compared to the other movies on the side of it, you know, the prequel and then the sequel trilogy, the OT essentially has 2 endings. Like the OT ends after episode 4, because Lucas was like, I don't know if we're ever going to make another one again. This thing just has to end. It has to be able to stand on its own and end. And then it's really Empire is the only one in that trilogy where it's like, oh, there's definitely something coming after. Like you have this feeling that like at the end, it can't end here. Like there needs to be more. And the same, you know, and then you go into Jedi, and then everybody assumes after Jedi, well, it's all over. Boom, that's all the Star Wars we're ever gonna get.
Palpatine lives, Nick. Ooh.
But he lived. You didn't see his ghost like float away.
His essence skirted out.
Yeah. But it's very interesting for ESB, and it makes sense as to why that's a lot of people's favorite, because it's the one that builds the most anticipation. Like the other two, there's really no anticipation to build out of necessity for A New Hope, because Lucas is like, well, this may make $15 and then I'm fucking broke forever. And then at the end of Jedi, it's like he was essentially done.
And what was it that Harrison didn't even want to come back, right? He wanted to be
He's
Gone.
wanted,
He wanted to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's wanted Han Solo to be dead since Star Wars. Like,
Forever.
he was just good.
Yeah.
he
Vader
loves
takes
him.
him out in the trench.
Yeah, he loves Indiana Jones, but for some reason absolutely despises Han Solo. I think he might have came around a little bit here in the end when they were throwing some millions at him, but hey, whatever. I still love the guy. I think it's his birthday today, actually. At least
Happy
people were
birthday,
honoring
Happy
it
birthday,
on.
Harrison.
Yeah, it's 79, almost 80. Believe that. Han
Well,
Solo's
those things
almost
are
80.
Those things are scary, right? Because they'll post like, they'll flash a picture of, Harrison Ford and the thing that I don't know why, maybe because I'm getting old, but it's like, shit, did they just die?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I think about
It's like-
every time, man.
No,
Every
I've
time.
Nick, he's still a young swashbuckler. But when I crossed in the 40, you start going, well, I could technically live by doubling my age, but it's starting to get a little dicey here.
Dicey.
Especially with you look around you these days, we got pandemics, half our country's on fire from a heat wave. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
are we really even going to be here in 40 years? But I don't, let's not get all depressed. No, I mean that's all.
Am I going to get my Hot Toys I ordered?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the most important.
I've got, I think it's up to like 5,500 now that they've.
No.
Well, yeah, because they just revealed the armor, and I have not pre-ordered her yet, but I do have a $25 off code that they graciously gave me over at Sideshow, so I need to do that because
awesome.
they put expiration dates on those codes. By the way.
That's so
Like
messed up.
Sideshow
That's stupid.
Toys, where some of the cheapest shit is still over $200. They put expiration dates on a $25 coupon, which is essentially good to pay for the NRD or the shipping. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bitch. $25 is $25, but why put an EOL on a coupon like that? You cocksuckers! All right. So I guess we're talking favorites. You've aligned with Trevor on ESB. So in terms of your favorite character, are you also a Solo fanboy, or do you have another character that is your top?
Trilogy, because again, it was a little bit till we got the prequels.
It could
but
be all
trilogy,
any
definitely
Star
Han.
Wars, really.
Yeah, no, I mean it's trilogy. Yeah, for sure, Han Solo. And the reason why is because he's human. Right. So like when we played in school, when we played pretend or whatever, I would pick him because, to me, it was like kind of goofy to have these force powers. Right. You can pretend to an extent until you get like secondhand embarrassment. But he's human. Right.
That's a good point.
He doesn't have the force. He doesn't have all that stuff. So but since we don't see him in the prequels, I became like very, very. I love the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but not in the OT, because it's like he's not there for very long. He lies to this kid. And
Well, he was suffering from severe PTSD, and I think what we're going to learn also some form of meth addiction based on the way his physical appearance
Probably.
Deteriorates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was probably not in the best headspace there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think, just like Peter Cushing, Alec Guinness, these guys were kind of at the end of their career. They've already done major shit. They've been in Oscar-worthy type of motion pictures.
Yeah.
Both of those guys, if you kind of read interviews at that time, they were not too pleased with, I would assume, their agents who got them these jobs. I mean, these days, I would love if they were still alive, if we could ask them, be like, hey, do you guys still really hate the fact that you were in this massive pop culture entry?
multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Right. Like literally, Sir Alec, people are still talking about this character. They're never going to talk about your Cuckoo's Nest character, whatever movie you were in. Or no, the Bridge over River Kwai. Yeah.
He's rolling over in his grave.
I know, but I
just feel
I kind of get what Johnny's saying. I mean, Alec did a great job, but you could almost sense sometimes, like you can sense in Harrison Ford, that they're not 100% thrilled to be there.
Phoning it in.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? He's like, your dad, he was a good friend or something. He didn't have the passion, but also, like you mentioned, like he was such a weird character, like in the original trilogy, even in his Force Ghost form, like you I didn't really feel anything for Kenobi for the first time until Return of the Jedi, when they have that conversation on the log.
Yeah, more of his lies are exposed.
Yeah, like he finally breaks down to him, like, look, this is what really happened. I was trying to protect you. And
this is
like
George
that.
writing like, okay, now I'm rich. I can make as many movies as I want. So now I can actually flesh this shit out that I just kind of.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta fit 3 movies worth of explanation into one conversation. Right. So when it comes out in 20 years, it makes sense.
And then I'll make the prequels.
He has hardly any lines.
Yeah,
right.
No,
he has hardly any lines in Empire.
No, he's only got the Dagobah scene, like, Dagobah, go to Dagobah.
Yeah, he shows up in the snow, and then one more time when Luke's getting ready to jet, and Yoda's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh God.
All right, so I have a feeling where we might go with this next one, but sometimes I screw the phrasing of this. But to you, what is a moment from the franchise that just stands out? Again, sometimes I'm like, hey, if an alien came here and you had to, sell a moment from Star Wars to try to get them interested into it, what would that be for Johnny?
I would have to say the carbonite scene in Empire. Just that whole, like, getting in there, because it's almost like everybody has a little bit of dialogue in it. And it's like, watch what happens. And then I think it's that scene. And I don't know. I think it's because it builds so much to it that you're hoping that there's enough movie left for him to get rescued. You're hoping there's enough, there's just enough, and it doesn't happen. And you're like, so I think,
well, because at that point, that Luke has had the vision in his en route, right? So I guess the first time you see,
I think Luke is on station at the time that he gets frozen.
Okay,
so like you could still, like, in your head, you're like, he's gonna show up right at the last minute and bang, he's gonna save him.
That's what I mean. See, we all want, I'm an angry motherfucker, and I still want my movies to end with the good guys winning, but Empire. That again, I go back to. I think that's why I don't consider it my favorite, is because at my age watching it, I just was not emotionally capable to handle the fact that Luke is Vader's son. He got his hand chopped off. Han, like Johnny said, could potentially be dead. C-3PO is all blown up in a sack. He's become Chupio now. Man. I might have to go talk to someone about Empire. I think it fucked me up.
Well, it was funny because a few years back, I was, I'm sure some people know, but I'm sure you guys, I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm an architect. That's my bread and butter.
You don't just customize toys and make millions off of that?
You've ruined the immersion. Honestly, Johnny, I'll call you for my next house. Because if I want to,
I heard about your house.
Yeah. Nick needs a new architect, big time.
Exactly.
He needs some floor planning, by the way. You got any plans for floors to be installed?
Exactly. Just bring 5 pieces up. No, but we were doing a job for a developer, and for some lofts or office, some industrial buildings out in LA, and Bad Robot was going to come in.
Oh shit.
And to just use it as storage space. And the rumor was that JJ was supposed to be coming around. And I was like, I need to meet this guy. Because I was like, why the hell did you kill Han Solo? And then, then like I was watching the last one, and I was with my wife, and I'm like, if they kill Chewbacca, I'm walking out.
I think Matt said the same thing. I'd have to go back and listen to the episodes, like, because we started, like, Star Wars Time started right before TFA released. Like, we started, I think the first episode of Star Wars Time actually had like 2 other people on it too, because it was some people that Matt used to work with.
Then we did like a roundtable review of The Force Awakens.
Yeah. And then after that, it was just us for the next 7 years.
Well, yeah, because the other 2 guys didn't agree with us, and they didn't love Star Wars as much as we did, so we just kicked them the fuck out.
Yeah, so we're like, get the fuck out of here.
What do you mean you didn't like TFA? It's the first new Star Wars movie in 10 years, loser. Like, you have to like all Star Wars.
I think that you said something like that, Matt, during that either during that podcast or the one right after, you were like, if they kill Chewbacca, like I'm not going to be able to control myself.
No, that is true. And really, going back to that scene Johnny's talking about, if you weren't an asshole like myself and read the entire script before going to see the movie, that actually is one of the better little narrative threads in Tross, the whole Chewie trickaroo thing.
Yeah,
but I don't know how long you've been listening, but Nick and I were fucking morons with Tross, and I'll take the blame because I was the ringleader. But we go on Reddit leaks, and they legitimately had the entire script, like at least the treatment.
Wow.
I mean, they hit it from the opening credits to the end. They didn't miss a damn thing. So I knew everything coming. I already knew all the nonsense. So I went into Tross kind of overly spoiled, which is probably why I don't have as much affinity for it these days. But yeah, no, that the Chewie scene was great in Tross. If you went in with a blank slate,
not knowing.
Yeah, don't be us. Don't be us. Like spoilers aren't worth it. They aren't worth it unless you're the one spoiling and getting all the traffic. Okay, if you're just two idiots like Nick and I that are going to talk about the spoils on a podcast, it completely ruined that movie for me. The experience, everything. It sucked. It was one of the worst things I've ever done as a Star Wars fan. So no matter how much you want to know, my friends, just stick to the speculating like my dumbass does now. And then, if you actually get one of 1,000 things right, you can get on a podcast or a live stream and pound your chest like people give a shit like I do. So
that's funny.
All right.
Do you like any of the new content, Johnny? Are you a fan of the Disney Star Wars era so far?
Because people from our era, they tend to get angry with the Disney stuff and the animated stuff. So.
No, I mean, I would say I'm a very big fan. If I have to watch, I also paint. So when I paint or I'm doing a custom or something, I need background noise. So I'll put on something, and I always go like either if it's not like OT or prequel or sequel, what I'll do is I will like put on like Rogue One because I love Rogue One. I think it's great. I love Solo. I hope they end up making something else with it, whether it's TV or in the movies or whatnot. But no, in the cartoons, to be honest with you, I watched, the Cartoon Network, Clone Wars. That was my first exposure to it, and when it was on cable or whatever, and it just started getting hard to find. And so I stopped watching.
You are right. They did not know how to fucking release the Clone Wars. I mean, it was a shit show. Even with the Gennady Tarkovsky one, it also was all chaotic in its release, and when you could find it, they were usually at like the end of another cartoon. I'm actually since Johnny mentioned he's an artist, I'm on his other account right now, and you can kind of see some of his sketches. I'm a big fan of this type of art. Johnny, I don't know if you have I just call it's stylized. That's what my dumb ass calls this real ass paint.
Real ass paint.
It reminds me of, and I don't know if you're familiar with this guy, and I think I told you in a chat. There's this Star Wars artist, and he's done some official stuff. I've got his stuff in the man cave down here. His name is Jake Detonator, maybe I think is his artist name. But it's a very similar stylized style, and I don't know. I love the look of your art in addition to your customs. But when you mentioned the art, I wanted to bring up your other page just in case other toy photographers didn't know that Mr. Osage Avenue also is a real ass painter.
Do you sell anything?
He's got a website, Nick. He's got a website.
So, it's funny that website. Well, yeah, but the website's like, it hasn't been updated since 15. Because around 15 is when I started getting into Instagram. Okay. And the only reason why I keep the web page up is because it's some place where people can typically go and see a resume or something. Hey,
I'll tell you right now, send an invoice to Nick and he'll pay for it. It doesn't matter what's attached to it, but you've heard his pledge during the fan segment.
Yeah.
You can see, so if you look in the background right here, there's an image right there that you can kind of see. That's the one that I got from Jared that got rained on.
Hey, did he send you a new one yet?
No, I told him not to send me a new one because I'm going to order a new one. And I want him to put up that one that we talked about 2 weeks ago, that fucking badass shot of all three of the Clone Boys. But I'll pull it in because it got ruined and I feel terrible.
This was a great story, by the way. Nick, I'll tell a story real quick. So he orders. Nick's
so
doing a great thing.
Of it is just like all rain.
Yeah, Nick is
all rain damaged.
Even beyond just choosing the top 5, Nick now has decided to support a lot of the artists we feature in the fan segment for the top 5. And this one here is from Sir Dork.
That's a great photo.
One of our favorites.
Yeah.
But Nick fucked it up. Well, he didn't. His
Nick fucked it up.
The mailman, what did he do? He just like threw it out in your backyard or something. Then like a rainstorm came in.
That's exactly what happened. And Jared, for those of you who don't know, Jared signed, like, this is a signed image. So like his signature is down at the bottom too. So his signature's got like water damage to it. So what happened? I ordered it and I was like, okay, great. I this is the one I want. Boom, comes in. And it's in an art tube, so it's like, you know, rolled up in a tube. And I have 2 patios attached to my house, 2 covered patios that could have held a package very easily, but instead the mailman puts it in my backyard that has no coverage over it. It's just wide open. And then the same day that it gets delivered, it rains. So it's sitting out there. I didn't know it had come in yet because it was coming from a custom shop. You don't get it like an Amazon alert when it gets delivered. And the guy didn't knock on my door. He didn't ring the doorbell, nothing. So I like 4 or 5 hours later, I'm like looking through my email and it's like, oh, your package has been delivered. I was like, what, really? So I walk outside and it's fucking soaked. And I knew from the moment I picked it, I was so angry because I'm like, there's no way that this thing is dry. So I open it up, the whole fucking bottom of it's wet. But
you know what would have made this better is if your dog, like you let your dog out and it came in with it in its mouth, like all chewed up and wet.
She was just chewing on it. She was just chewing on it. But no, I mean, that's the worst experience that I've had so far. And that's of no fault of the artist. I bought something from Phase Runner, which is on my wall over here. You can't see it. I bought an image from Savvy, which is on my wall right here next to me. I have the Sir Dork piece that will continue to sit on my shelf. Even though it's water damaged. And that is my mission, is to support. Yeah,
Jared said he's going to send you a special one, and Bat said especially damaged. There you go. Yeah, hey, Jared, just give it some custom weathering, like a few rips and tears.
Fire. Just send me a half singed image.
All right, say anyways.
But no, like I said,
but that's the thing too. Like for us artists, though, it's kind of like. I'm sorry, at least maybe not everybody, but I'm very like, once I send it to you, I'm like watching it like a freaking hawk, like making sure it's getting to you, whether it's a custom toy or whether it's a piece of artwork. Because again, I don't have it hooked up to where someone puts an order in. You know, so mainly I do for my paintings, I mainly do commission work, so people come to me, but blah blah blah. So I know that I'm sending it to you. And so I'm like, hey, it went out today. Track it. Here's the tracking. I'm tracking it with you because people, you know, regardless of what it is, I don't ever want to say, well, sorry, you know, that's not me. It's FedEx or it's UPS or it's, you know, Postal Service. I want to make sure that everything gets there. And now with some of these customs, there's more doodads on them that I want to make sure that you get all of them, you know, in good shape. So yeah, it's a little nerve wracking too.
Oh, dude, this stuff. I do love this style that you work with and this style of art. It's very fun and it's very like what I like. It's lively. It's very lively, and you know, yeah, man, you gotta get one whipped up and then just update your site and then drop your shit on your Instagram bio.
I'm telling you, that's how Nick he's asking for a PayPal invoice. Just send it to him.
He's a curator. He's a curator collector.
I got.
How about that, everyone? Let's talk about that. We've somehow turned Nick into a collector of pictures and art of other people's collections. That's pretty impressive. Like he's not a collector, but over these years of doing the show and doing it live and, you know, talking with some of the knuckleheads in the live stream, Nick has become a collector in his own right. All right, so Johnny, one more Star Wars thing before we get into your customization art form here. And I don't think I've asked this yet, but you know, I like some negativity. Any of the films, animated series that just doesn't sit well with you, even today? Well,
I didn't give what's it's called a chance because it was just I I gave it a chance. Saw like 2 seconds of it, and it was like, this is garbage.
Resistance.
Yes.
Damn, poor Resistance. I you know what? I'm gonna stump for this show. Everyone hates Resist. I just don't get it. It's not like a kitty goofball cartoon. Kaz is he kind of grows into a, what do we call him? Like he's a klutz hero. He's a hero klutz.
Yeah, he's very, yeah.
It's fine. No, it's funny.
No, I mean,
that Resistance is pretty much the dartboard for that question. It is the bullseye. Everyone so far has said Resistance.
No, I mean, all of them. I mean, again, shit. We, having seen everything through, including the original Christmas special and all that stuff. I mean, you kind of have to like maybe not like it is the right word, but appreciate it or maybe not accept it, but maybe appreciate it, because it all kind of leaks into everything that it is the universe,
that's true.
Right? So, but there is definitely some major fails. Like my big thing was, I don't understand. I think when did I think they were contemporaries with Revenge of the Sith and one of the Lord of the Rings movies. Like they came out at the same time.
Oh, Resistance?
No. Lord of the Ring movies and Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
So the first Lord of the Rings was 2001, so that was the year before Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith was 2005, and I think that Return of the King was 2004, 2005.
Yeah, it was. It would have been 2004, because I remember that's right when I moved to Texas and they cleaned house in the Oscars of February 2005.
Yeah. No, well, long story long is that they should have made Revenge of the Sith into 2 parts. Yeah. They should have done that. But, so that's my only gripe. Because, like, I think with what Matt always comments about is that you don't get enough of that, what you're getting now in Clone Wars, or what you got in Clone Wars and in Clone Wars, that whole story of Anakin. Right? Yeah. He's basically like a crybaby the whole time, just like his kid is. And that's all you get. And it's like, that's not really what it, I think, was the intention. Right. So they could have at least done a little bit more, but
yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad another Rots hater. We need more Rots haters out there. He probably doesn't hate it like I did, but
I don't hate it. But I think there should have been at least.
I've gotten over. I've learned to let go of my hate, as they say in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Or at least do like a Return of the King length of movie, like Return of the King, like
the extended edition.
So like 3. The extended edition's 5 hours long, over 5 hours long. The theatrical version's 3.5 hours long. Even if you would have added another hour and 15 minutes to Rots, it still would have made it better, because you get a little bit more of that substance. But I can definitely see what you're saying. Like if you cut that in half and have it essentially be like the build and then the fall, in 2 separate movies. Yeah. And then,
I mean, honestly, I got a little topic I want to run with, since we're already spitballing this. I personally think Rots is one of the Star Wars movies that would benefit the most from a rewrite.
A rewrite?
Like a full just, here's Rots 2.0,
And shit, you can get all the actors to do it.
A remake, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has aged so well.
Get Jimmy Smits in there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like Smits still looks good too. I mean, the only thing you'd have to do is find a new Dooku, because Christopher Lee's gone.
Half the scenes he was in, anyways, he was like goofy CG look and all the action stuff. So
he gets fucking killed in the first 15 minutes anyway. Yeah. So you could just do like they did with Tarkin in Rogue One and just make him completely digital.
Or just do like a really hacky edit job and use like some old, like original Rots footage, and then dub in the other stuff where the actors look a little older, a little more wrinkles on their face.
Bring a Papa Yoda in.
I still think it's funny because it's always the last ones, right? Like, I think that Rots, could use a rewrite.
Don't fuck with Return of the Jedi, motherfucker.
No. But I think that, like, honestly, still for me, the worst one by far is Attack of the Clones. Dude.
I'm not.
It's
Hey,
so bad.
Hear me out. Hear me out, though.
It's so bad.
Hear me out. I'm not going to disagree. Like cinematically, it's just not good. The acting's off. The script's off. Some of the scenes are off. But if you think about what the movie was supposed to do, it does it well. It transitions Palpatine into the Chancellorship. It transitions the galaxy into the Clone Wars. All of the big set piece stuff actually kind of works, but the movie as a whole is rather bad. It's just bad. Like from the get-go, it's bad.
Yeah.
But
I guess,
you guys know my dissertation on the prequels. I have it in video form out there. The Phantom Menace is the best prequel movie. Jared Middleton will agree with me. I highlighted, it's very academic in nature. If you want to go check it out, I highlight my reasons and sources. But all right, this isn't Rot's fixing discussion. We're here to celebrate at Johnny_Osage_AVE and his awesome looking Star Wars customization and other franchise type of work. So we already kind of heard, Johnny, that I usually ask, like, did your Star Wars fandom somehow get you into this art form that we're celebrating here? And it did. I mean, Johnny explained he saw the movie for the first time, didn't really know what he was getting into, but by the time he walked out, he was already taking his Fisher-Price people and customizing them to turn them into Star Wars Fisher-Price people, which is fantastic considering where Johnny's at today with his customization page here, which again, I have it up on the live stream if you're watching, and I'm sure if you're listening on the podcast a day later, Nick will have a link for you to go check out so you're not missing out. But awesome. It sounds like, did you just keep running with it from the Fisher-Price days all the way up until you decided to take things to Instagram, or did you kind of take a break from it?
Oh, big time break. So like I was heavy collector up until, Return of the Jedi. And then after that, I think I got the first complete wave of action figures, if you call it a wave. And then they started coming out with all these like obscure ones, and I stopped collecting then. Then I got into, going to college and doing all that kind of stuff that I didn't have really the time or money to keep collecting the stuff. I remember I bought a couple of the yoked out, or they weren't Power of the Force, or were they Power
No,
of the
they
Force?
were. A lot of the orange or the red card Power of the Force, yes, they were on steroids.
They were all on steroids. Right?
Took some growth hormone.
Of those. Yeah. And then I started collecting again when, Phantom Menace started coming out. That's kind of when I started collecting again. But again, I was, collecting and putting it away, putting it away kind of thing.
Yes, I had that sickness too, even back then.
And then when around 15 or so, when I started getting into the Black series, they started coming out. I wasn't going to touch those because they were too cool to touch. It's like, I'm not going to mess with those. And so I started actually customizing Marvel Legends. And just like with my artwork kind of took a swing. I was doing a lot of, because I grew up in this type of household where the only art that really counted was, master's art. So we're talking about Renaissance art, Caravaggio's here and there and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
And so, yeah, that guy. And so, and my dad was like, my dad's a master jeweler. He's a master jeweler. And so he's a great sculptor. And so we had all that shit for iconography all around. And so I started doing religious paintings when I first started painting. And it kind of, took a left turn or whatever, because people would dig it, but no one was really getting excited about it. And so I started doing surf and skate art, and people were stoked. So that's like the turn. Same thing with customizing toys. People liked the Marvel Legends, but they weren't really stoked about it. But the minute I started doing Star Wars, it was like night and day. And
do you remember your first custom Star Wars figure?
Yeah, first custom Star Wars was a Sand Trooper, and I just weathered them. Went to the hobby store, bought some. They had a bin of old decals, put numbers on them and pinstripes on them. Weathered him out more, painted him up a little bit different, and then it was I started. Everyone that I had, I started opening up. I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to keep these boxed anymore. I started opening them up, started taking them apart, trying to see what I can do with them. A lot of trial and error. I don't airbrush, but I was starting to use some spray paint because I use spray paint in my art. I knew that didn't take. So I just, straight up acrylic. A lot of the guys, the customizers, they swear on Citadel colors and certain things and kits to rust and blah, blah, blah. I just mix my own and go for it. And it works out. It works out. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like the genes kind of lean towards art. You said your father was a master jeweler. You're an artist of many different genres. I mean, I would consider architecture. It's an art form itself, right?
Yeah, that's art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
every time I say I'm an architect, I feel like George Costanza.
So did everyone in the family get bit by the art bug, or?
A couple of my siblings are artistic, but primarily, I have another brother who's an architect, but and like a sister does some like craft work, but pretty, she knits and sews and stuff.
I don't know about you, Nick, but I feel like if Johnny shaved his head and lost his glasses, he could also be Tamara Morrison's double, right?
Yeah, no.
Do you see a little? I see a little Boba Fett in there, right?
Yeah. Get a scar on your face.
A scar.
Right?
Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah, get your
that's a good call.
Your Maori accent down, but no, I mean, I've been seeing a little Tamara in there, so it's a good look.
That's funny.
All right, so you've been doing it seriously on IG. It sounds like since 2015, 16. That seems to be the genesis period of. When toy photography kind of became a movement, if you will, especially in the Black Series line. I mean, you have us now, but the big one back then, or still the biggest, is Star Wars, the Black Series, right?
Black
I mean, that's he's a massive account. But it does seem, there must have been something in the water. I don't know if it was just, we all knew Star Wars was coming back. But it's that 15, 16, maybe even 17 a bit. But that is the window when it feels like this whole community started to explode and find each other. The customizers are finding the collectors find the customizers, the photographers, so on and so forth. Now, is this something, Johnny, do you dedicate time every day, every week? I mean, is it something you try to get to regularly?
Oh, yeah. Again, when I went to school, we had all-nighters. I mean, in architecture school, if there's any other viewers or listeners that, went the same route that I did, you can have a full workload, different classes, but your studio professor is always going to say the only thing that counts is studio. So you're talking about all-nighters. So my sleep went to shit while I was in school. So when I got out of school, it's the same thing. I don't sleep very well. So if I can't sleep, I get up and paint, or I do some customs or whatever I have on hand that I need to get at for a little bit. And sometimes it's, just making sure. I think like when I post like, hey, this is going on, I'm like really quiet because people are still asleep. So when my family's asleep or whatever, I'll start doing the work. And, sometimes like I've been fortunate enough to like get commission work for these figures as well. Or if it's a commission art piece, I'll do that. But yeah, I try to find some time. Again, for me, it's therapy. I mean, it's just, you have to be in it. You have to really think about it. And again, especially like if it's for me, if I'm trying something new, I don't really care so much. But then again, I'm kind of sick. So I want to make sure it's perfect because I don't want to put out crap. But if it's a commission piece or something that someone wants to buy, I definitely don't want to give them crap. You're putting your money in it. I don't care how much it's worth or whatever. You're buying it. You should get something that you're going to, put on your stand or whatever it is, and you're going to be stoked about it.
Now, do you, I always notice do you craft the stands for every figure, or are those stands just to show off?
No. So I started doing that because, again, when I first started, so I started my IG like in, 15, 14, I don't know, I can't really remember now, but I didn't start doing, it was everything. It was like a mosh podge, everything, right? It was like my family, my art, these figures and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, no, I'm going to separate it. So at 19, I separated my account where that's where I started the Johnny Osage. Av account. And so I was doing these, but I would always shoot them on our ADT dial pad or whatever that's on our counter. And people would say, why you? So I never really put them outside. I never did anything like that. Interesting. So I thought, you know what? These Warhammer figures look pretty badass on these little pedestals. So I'm going to try to do that. So that's when I started doing them. That's just really recent, probably about, I would say 6 months, maybe a year, about 6 months. And they just give it something extra special, you know?
Yeah, it does. It kind of adds to, it almost makes it a scene,
it's like
a sculpture.
I was going to say a mini scene.
Yeah.
Is that like 3D printed? Do you do any like 3D printing for your customs or make anything?
No, I buy from printers, from guys that are out there in the community. I always tag them on who I
give them the
from.
plugs. We're looking at one right now. We're going to look at two of these. These are some of my favorite recent Johnny Osage Ave specials. Is it Osage Ave? Is that like a famous street out there?
No, Osage Avenue is the street I grew up on.
Got you.
Oh, nice.
So we're checking out, Nick. I don't know if you can see it, but this is Johnny's 2.0 version of his custom Bad Batch Omega. But he kind of positions her as an adult now, and I fucking love this concept because I do believe at some point in time, you know, she may not don clone armor, even though it makes sense the way Johnny has it depicted. But I do believe at some point in time we are going to see an older Omega. Just they're not just creating this character and giving her the special lineage just for Bad Batch, at least in my opinion, which everyone should respect and appreciate. But I dig this. So if you're not looking live, I know it's kind of a bummer, but I'll describe it to you. It looks like Johnny, he's using a Black Widow head. So you got ScarJo's head, which is freaking ideal for Omega, right? A grown-up Omega.
Yeah.
And then Johnny, it looks like, would you use like a clone trooper base, or is that just a stormtrooper base for the body?
No, it's the Phase 1 clone trooper base that just came out. And so I use that because the feet are awesome. Like, not to get Tarantino on it, but the older cast for their shoes looks kind of very smooth. These have more detail.
Yeah.
So it captures that grit, you know, like when you age it and weather it.
Right.
It captures that grit like dirt. And so that's the figure. And then all the stuff, the doodads on it are from John Walker. Primarily, there's some Scoundrels stock in there. There's a DTG. And like you said, I had a Infinity War Black Widow out there that I just popped the head on and changed it out, which is funny because I've gotten so much shit for that she doesn't look like Omega. I'm like,
my
people,
God.
it's a toy.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
people.
what do you want?
It's a toy.
People
Just like,
on
relax.
social media are such piles of shit. It's like, I mean, there are times like when people leave comments like that, or, you know, I get stuff on our feed. I just sit there and have to wonder, like, how bad does their life suck that this is what they feel compelled to do? Like they're trying to ruin other people's days by leaving a shitty comment that they hope they see. I don't get it.
What I love, and it's, you know, it happens with my art too, is that, you know, it's not just, you know, and I'm too old to get into it with people, but it's like, okay, let me see what badass shit you're doing.
Right.
And I go, and it's like some freaking private account.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
followers, or,
It's
or there's no one's there. So I'm like, okay, so you're trolling it around. It's fine. It's cool. So I leave it alone. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, these, again, like this one in particular has a lot of stuff.
So
idea,
where's the Bad Batch
concept,
pieces
right?
come from, Johnny? Or are you just painting over the existing trooper body? Like her gray chest plate, and you got
so then the shoulders and the body, including the knee pads, are all, you know, the base clone, and I just paint over that. But like the chest plate is an ARC Trooper chest plate to customize that I got from John Walker. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the helmet though, is from the Elite Trooper that's out now. I just painted over.
Ah, got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then just add all the stuff, the commas or dusters, whatever you want to call them, and just make her look like the whole idea is that hey, she's with these guys. She starts growing up and like she starts taking on that that lifestyle.
I think you're on to something. I really do. I mean, if you go back to the one episode, I forget which one at this point, but she's holding the little clone doll and paints the Bad Batch style armor and says, "This is me." This is me. It's not one of the other Bad Batchers. She was envisioning herself already. I now have it on the version 1.0 of Johnny Osage Av's grown up Omega. And this one to me could be even closer to what we may get. Because to me here, Johnny, I feel like you kind of mash together some Mandalorian type of gear, but it's still very clone armor oriented, which for her, with what we know now with her Django DNA and obviously her side family with the Bad Batchers, if she was going to honor everything, I think this is picture perfect, if you will, in terms of a concept.
Yeah, so that one was it was an homage to both her brother and dad. So she has the Django,
the holster, right?
Holsters, and of course the Boba Fett blaster.
That's her, her bro's blaster.
And so on that one, there's less like doodads, but it's mainly the base of an Elite clone that I just painted out and made it look like something she would be wearing. Did you
style the helmet this way as a nod to her friendship with Wrecker, or is that just something? Okay.
Yeah. So but I didn't want to give it the teeth here's the thing too, is like when I get to do certain things like that, I want to make sure they look cool and people get the idea of it, but not to where it looks janky, Hey,
it worked. I'm an art idiot, and I picked up on it, so I think you did a great job. Now, again, people, if you're not watching live, I implore you to go check out at Johnny_Osage_Av on Instagram to look at some of these. Nick will also have the link in the our standard podcast release, which we do on Wednesdays. But you really need to check out some of the stuff we're talking about as Johnny's kind of breaking it down, because they are little pieces of art. They are handmade sculptures to me. I know they may be plastic that was printed in a factory somewhere, but what Johnny does and these other customizers is they completely change it and turn it into a piece of art. Some of the other ones I've loved. And this one I even was starting to implore, like if he was selling these bad boys, but Johnny also made a custom Bad Batch Echo, which again, in his description, this comes from the @John Walker Customs kit, and it looks like you used the bucket from @Scoundrel Stock. But I love this because we don't have a Black Series of Echo yet. And Johnny has, through these other 3D printers, and you paint it all though, right? This comes just plastic to you.
Yeah, this comes just resin or whatever.
And if you look at it again, if you're on the live stream, I'll be scrolling through some of the shots, but it's like a little hot toy. All right.
Yeah. So on that Echo one, I use the hot toy Echo as the base of what just colors I want to use.
Beautiful. I love this thing.
And so I'm doing another one. I think it's on a home already too, but
he's like you don't even want to get mixed up. It's like buying a hot toy. I was like, all right, fair enough. But I just wanted to let him know I thought it was a badass looking 1/12 scale custom. Because you are right. I mean, it's spot on to that hot toy in terms of just the style.
How often does it happen where like you make a custom for something that's not out yet, like this Echo, and then the official drops and you're like, my shit looks way better. They just need to call me up and then hire me.
Well, I get that from people a lot. Like, hey, your shit's better, or whatever. I don't, it's art. It's something where it's a little bit subjective or objective or subjective. I get stoked when people dig it, but I made a comment, and it was in joke of when the Echo the Target exclusive Echo came out, I had done a Echo for a guy, a custom Echo, and I'm like, look, side by side, mine's a little bit better. And I got so much shit for it. These customizers think that their stuff's better, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh Jesus, seriously? Man. Because I took an Echo, I took an Echo, and I weathered Echoes for people because, again, they're, I'm glad they made it, but at the same time, it's like, it's still, I want it to look somewhat, I know it's a toy, but somewhat realistic, like something that's...
Yeah, I mean, these things are mass-produced, people. They're just, they're in these big molds, and they get shit out and put into a box. So these customizers like Johnny do make them look better. I mean, I'll even do some half-ass weathering on some of my troopers when I feel like it, just putting some shoe polish on it, because a freshly out-of-the-package trooper clone of any type they're just too clean. They're too clean.
Yeah.
Sometimes the faces are all shiny, and people like Johnny can tone that shit down, and like you said with the Echo, just make, well, he's talking about Echo before he became Echo Bad Batch. Right. Let's clarify that. But I saw that too. I mean, you just the bodies look more realistic. I think you do a little bit with the face to kind of get that shiny shit Hasbro's putting on it these days. Yeah, I mean, some of these Hasbro faces now, guys, it's like they dip them in epoxy. It's like just this shiny sheen that's on their face. And you either have to go in post and try to smudge that shit out, or I'm sure guys like Johnny have a trick.
Every time before I start a custom, I take it and I give it a nice dish soap bath and some nice hot water so I can loosen all the limbs, but primarily take off all that resin, factory resin that's on them. It helps a little bit. But sometimes, even when you paint over it, the oils will seep through. So it's just little tricks here and there. But at the end of the day, they come out looking pretty awesome, and people get stoked, and that's the whole purpose of it. Like having them have something that is really cool to look at, that they're going to be stoked about. Which typically now, like I think I was saying, I'm not doing commissions on these anymore because, like, there's almost no point. Like, if I'll make something, people want to buy it and they'll buy it or whatever. But if not, shit, I get a cool little piece, to have of my own.
Johnny, what would you say is the average time? Let's go with one of the Omegas. How long did that take from start to finish? The first one. Let's just go with the first one.
Oh, the first one, probably about 10 hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then how about something like the Echo, which needed painting and configuring?
That one was easily about 12 plus, maybe 14 hours, only because it's funny. Like, again, and I don't know how to process the files to enlarge or make bigger. Or maybe if you had like a 3D scanner, you can scan the figure so that everything fits right. Mm-hmm. A lot of these things don't fit. So you got to put time into it. And you're there hacking at your figure and you're like, shit, hoping it works and whatnot. And you're going in, and it takes a little while. And so once you're done, so like that first Echo, there was things that, were very difficult for me to figure out. On the second one that I'm doing now, it's like, I knew exactly what I needed to cut away, what needed to go, how to do it so that everything starts to fit better. So it's a little bit of time, and that's the thing too, is like one thing that people don't understand. And I'm sure it's, again, toy photographers, I think, are the same, probably in the same manner, is that to get these cool shots and to get these cool things, it takes time, and when it comes down to this, and let's say if you are doing them to sell or doing whatever, I don't want to go on the money route, but if people want these things, they don't understand these things take time, whether it's the just the essence of putting it together. Like if not, then I'll teach you how to do it. You can do it. But if you want it from me, it's going to take
that is, I mean, most people, I don't want to say most, everyone loves art, but not everyone realizes what it takes to make art. And that's why there's a lot of artists that don't make a lot of money. They're always out of work because people want all this shit for free. Oh, give me that poster. Give me that figure. Give me that picture. Right. Oh, it didn't take that. It wasn't that hard when that. It's like, no. I mean, any form of art that is worth paying money for, it's worth paying money for because of the hours the artisan put into the product. So you're right. I'm looking at this is another of my personal favorite Johnny Osage Avenue pieces, and it's the Neo Boba, as I like to call him. So Mando Boba, and he's holding the decapitated head, bruised and battered head of Bo-Katan. It's I take it, Johnny, as like your fun play on their dynamic in The Mandalorian, where you could kind of tell that they had not a lot of love shared between them, and this is kind of Boba getting the last word and taking out the maybe future queen of Mandalore here. But I just what went into the Boba? Like what mashed in to make this Boba Fett?
So that Boba actually is a Grief cardboard.
The cardboard.
And I bought the Bandai Boba Fett model, and basically, dremeled out all the attachments, and so it can become just armor, and put it on and built it out on that base. And I had it for a little while. It was almost like when I did that one, it was just, well, what if, Boba Fett becomes, we're like this kind of like Marshall kind of thing, right? And that's why he still kind of has a little bit of the feel of the grief. And so, but then, like, you're always a kid. At least I always am. The whole line, like, my voice might be the last one you hear, princess, or whatever he says to her. I was like, oh, and then I had taken apart, because I had took off the bow's head and put I forget. I think it wasn't a Target exclusive. It might have been a Target exclusive. Black Widow. It was more animated looking. I put that on there because I still need to finish that. I haven't done it. So I had this extra bow head, and so I just thought this would be kind of cool to do, which I didn't get too much shit for, which I was excited. People really dug it.
Hey man, it's a Star Wars piece where a woman's getting jacked up, so I'm sure a lot of Star Wars trolls out there enjoyed it. So. if you would have flipped it and put Boba's head up there, people would have fucking lost their mind. No way Bo-Katan would ever be Boba Fett. He has dick and balls. Case closed.
I don't know if you guys saw the one that I did of Anakin on kind of Revenge of the Sith, Lava Land, holding the Yoda.
Let's see.
Was it recent?
Oh, I see it. Whoa!
Oh yeah. Look at that. No, I'm telling you, that's why I love Johnny Osage, because like his customizations sometimes get dark as fuck. Like this one we're looking at, if you're not on the live stream, envision Anakin floating on one of those little robots like he was on Mustafar fighting his buddy. But he's full Sith, and it looks like he's been out there kind of Jedi hunting at this point in time. And he has Yoda hanging from a noose as he's flying on this little tiny robot skiff. And Anakin just looks like someone you would never want to cross paths with. You even gave him a C-3PO arm, Anakin.
Yeah.
I like, in my opinion, the Jedi are evil. I like this. No, I'm telling you, man, Johnny has some great stuff. You got to check out his page. Like, I mean, even look at this, like, wise, Asian-looking Yoda. He's smoking himself a peace pipe.
Hashish pipe.
It's his 420 Yoda.
Yeah, it's my 420 Yoda, but it was, I had bought that Bandai Yoda kit, and it came with I think it was a 112, but then also came with a 332nd still Yoda, and I didn't know what to do with it. And all of a sudden, I was, I have TV around, and Gremlins was on, And it reminded me of like, hey, shit, I should do like a little like
it's the guy that sells him Gizmo. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And so I was like, I'll do this. And so,
man, I could almost just throw this up on my TV at night when I find myself staring at the menu screen and trying to figure out if I'm actually going to click on an app. And just like, this is very soothing to just watch. It's a motion pick. So you can see smoke all in the room, but in particular coming out of Stone Yoda's mouth and his pipe. It's almost like staring at a Yule log, right? It's very serene. So the next piece I kind of picked out myself. Let me close some of these ones we've looked at. It involves Neo Boba. And this is kind of it looks like you drew upon multiple different customizers to get this done, Johnny. This is the one where you have Neo Boba sitting on the Bib Fortuna throne, but you added in a nice little touch. Again, he gets dark here, my friends. You've got Bib's head on a pike sitting right next to him. I just, I mean, the paint jobs are nice and crisp. I mean, look how fresh Boba looks. How did he paint his armor? Well,
I know, exactly.
Johnny did it. There you go. There's the answer. But yeah, I mean, it looks like this is a mashup of all sorts. I mean, you got Scoundrel stock in here, Photonic Figures, 2797 Studios, Nova Empire. I mean, this is one hell of a kind of what do we want to call this? A
collaboration.
Yeah, a collaborative effort here. Now, did you did all the painting and all that, and they printed out the material?
Yeah. So the later, like the latest stuff you've seen, like I've been doing a lot of Bib Boba Fett thrones. That was a photonic print that 2797 is printing out. So those are really fun to do, because the one thing I've seen a lot of people do them, like print them out and paint them and whatnot. But the one thing I kind of like add my own little touch is that on all the ones I painted, there's a little bit of blood on the cushion that drips down as if where Bib would have gotten shot. Yeah, so if you ever order one of them, that's what I'll do to it. Besides, signing the bottom or whatever. But that's my little touch. Like I make this like drip of blood just come down all the way to the base and kind of go away.
I just now realized that those are Rancor heads. In the sea.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that's Moochie? That's got to be Moochie, right?
Moochie.
It's got to be Moochie.
It has to be. I
mean, Bib loved Moochie. This is Bib's throne, so there you go. Moochie's on there.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it. The other thing that's fun about Johnny's account is his captions are perfect too. This is the Target exclusive Book of Boba Fett deluxe set. So he knows the pains we go through as collectors with Target. So always a little cheeky here.
Terrible.
Here's another one. This is this is pre-Vizsla. Again, a figure that was never made. So this is a true custom. I can't even. It looks like is that a Django base for the body, or
it's a Mandalorian loyalist. Yeah, that was a commission piece. Actually, I did that one for Bat and Nova. It was really fun to do. Again, there's so many figures that they haven't made. I mean, I know I did a Cobb. I know that's coming out now. That's the pipe dream or pipeline exclusives or whatever that they're coming out with. But I mean, there's a plethora of figures they could come out with. That why they keep coming out with, and I know they're anniversary releases, but why they keep coming out with the same damn thing over and over again? It's like, come on, guys. Like,
I'll tell you what, man, I think this year and like some of these recent rounds of exclusives, and later on the show, we'll be talking about the Trapper Wolf, which I know we all want, but we probably won't get. I think Hasbro is about done me in, and I'm not going to be one of these victims like, oh, fuck you, I'm not giving you. It's just, I don't care about the rat race anymore. I like my Barbies, I like the Hot Toys, waiting for them to show up. I don't know if I'm going to get mixed up in the Black Series shit that much. I would rather, in terms of this scale, I'd rather buy something like this pre-Vizsla than, as Johnny said, another fucking archive Princess Leia that still doesn't look like Princess Leia.
Yeah,
I just feel like at this scale now, it's like with the FOMO, the waiting. I'd rather just pay the $250 and get the fucking art piece, the hot toy. But hey, that's me, and lucky me, I can do that. I probably shouldn't be doing it because my kid's going to be, work, never going to have a college fund. But oh well, we're not going to make it that much longer anyways. That's at least what I keep banking on. I need to correct something in the chat real quick. Props. We did have a show last week. It just wasn't live streamed. So shame. They
weren't listening.
Shame. Yep. Where's the bell, Nick?
Podcast
Ring the bell.
Feeds.
Ring the bell like Game of Thrones. Ding, ding, ding. Shame. Shame. Yeah, you live streamers, you gotta get subbed up to the podcast, my friends. Let's do it.
Yeah. Anywhere you want to listen to it. Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. There was a show. It was just me. People loved it, apparently.
Those were kind of the ones I wanted to talk about with Johnny. I mean, I'm going to go back to his homepage because he's got a new one up there. What is this guy? Is this a G.I. Joe mashed with Star Wars, or is this a full on just a completely custom Mandalorian you got here? This you probably posted a couple. Yeah, one day ago. It's this green guy with the shield.
Oh, yeah, no, that guy.
Oh, this is a giveaway. This is actually a good post to be. Johnny's doing a 6,000 follower giveaway, so that we're talking about the post right now.
Yeah, so that is a season 1 Mando base, and the blasters and the bucket are all from DTG, and I had done it. It was the idea that the concept is, Mandalorians are Jedi killers, like they go hunting for Jedi as Jedi hunters, whatever you want to call them. And so this was like one of the first ones that I made. I added some soft goods to it. And then Phototonic and 2797 started printing out those blaster shields. So I gave it like this cool shield. And so that's the giveaway for this 6,000.
All right. Well, let's promote it since I happen to, jump on this pick, and the giveaway is still open. So what you got to do, you got to go to @Johnny_Osage_AVE. Figure it out. Do a search on Instagram. You'll find them.
Yeah, you can find them.
But you need to like the post, tag 3 others, but there is a catch. Try to tag another craftsman, meaning someone that has more talent in their pinky than myself or Nick. All right, that's what a craftsman is defined as. Someone other than a toy customizer, toy photographer, or fellow Star Wars fan. So he's wanting you to branch out and bring in some people to see his page that typically probably wouldn't see it, which is a smart move to get that algorithm jiving with you. And then step 3 is add it to your story. Tag me with #JSCULQUI Star Wars Customs. All right, so that is how you get an entry. It is a badass looking custom, definitely something any serious collector would love to have, and that's the deal with customizers and why I appreciate them so much. While we all love the hunt of finding a toy in the store, millions of other people have that same figure. Unless it's from Target, Walgreens, or Walmart, then only the motherfuckers on eBay have that figure. But what these customizers do, like Johnny, is they give you a true, unique art piece. I mean, this custom Mandalorian, this is something you would never see in the store, from Hasbro, hell, from anywhere. I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it out loud, it's not officially licensed, so he has that creativity to kind of make whatever the hell he wants. And they're soft goods mixed with some standard accessories. It's just a fantastic little deal. So celebrate Johnny's 6K. Make sure to get to his account, read the details. It'll be the post that has the badass looking green Mandalorian with shield. All right. So support him. Johnny, before we let you go, I always like to hear or allow you artists to, maybe mentor some of the up and comers. Do you have a few tips that you wish you knew about when you started doing all this back in 14, 15? Anything for the customizers out there, the printers, the painters?
Just as far as the customizers, I mean, take your time. It is a little bit of an art in the sense that you can't just expect it to be perfect. And one thing I learned, early on, Um, I in my education, I've taken 2 art classes, an appreciation one and a drawing class because we needed to take it for architecture. But I've always doodled since I was little, crayons, whatever it is. I draw every day, even if it's a sketch. I have to. It's just like my thing that I have to draw something, doodle something every day. So you can't get to, you can say, and I am very flattered when people go, this is great stuff, it's awesome, and they start, applauding me for it. At the same time, when I look at it, it's like, it can always be better, right? Mm-hmm. But I appreciate it. But then what I kind of get a little bummed out on is when they say, mine will never be like that, or I can't do this, this is, and they'll show me, and yeah, it's a little rough maybe, but I didn't wake up one day and start doing these right away, right? It took me some time. So take your time, like hone that craft, right? Whether it's customizing toy photography. And again, I know a few toy photographers and shit. It's like, that's why I don't do it, because I don't have another, few hours to spend setting something up or doing something or creating something that's going to look kick ass. I don't have the time for that because that's time, it's, so take your time doing your craft, whatever it might be, that would be my only like parting thing or suggestion.
I think a part of that was also don't be a self-deprecating idiot like Matt too, because
yeah, Matt,
it gets annoying, right? I know it drives Trevor nuts when I shit on myself. So I don't know, man. I mean, glass half empty. That's my motto.
Yeah, I know, and it's like I've actually seen your stuff, and I like it. You may not.
I need to do it again. I mean, I think my dad's finally coming back down. We've healed those wounds, so I might get some time this week. But it's been 9 weeks. I'm actually counting it now. Wow. 9 weeks since I've done a shoot, and it's killing me. Like before, it was like, whatever, lockdown life. But now, I mean, I'm preparing. Wife's already back to work. Kid will be in kindergarten in about 3 weeks.
Nice.
Dad's still going to be stuck down the basement, so I'm preparing and starting to get ready for what am I going to do? I mean, it's been almost a year and a half where it's going to be back to where I was just working at home. I'm going to have a little more of that time to maybe make some more content for the YouTube channel. Give us a follow, Star Wars Time Show on YouTube. But just get back to the art form. I mean, it's something I bitch about. I make fun of myself, but. And other photographers and even the artists know it. Once you sit down and start doing it, there's really nothing else you'd rather be doing at that point in time. To me, it's getting there is kind of tough right now just because of the lack of time, as Johnny's saying. But once you get there and you can kind of get over all the bullshit in your head, like, oh, you're not good enough, you'll never be like this guy or this girl, it's not worth setting up these shots. But when you're in it, it's like everything kind of just goes away, It's just you're just focusing on the art, and that's what I miss the most. Is just sitting down, not really having a plan, throwing up the latest figure, and trying to do something with some lights and smoke and mirrors. But
and then one other thing, it's go ahead. Sorry.
No, do it.
No, it's like the other thing too is like, once you get to like that level that you're really stoked about your work and people start getting stoked about it, share it. Don't be, share that knowledge, because I've been fortunate enough where I've shared, people have shared with me, how do you do this? Can I ask you, where'd you get this? Where'd you buy this? How do you do this thing? The community's been very nice. And sometimes, you get the person never responds back, and that's okay. Then quick, stop hassling them or asking them. But for the majority, people have been very, very nice, and, just pay it forward. When once you get to that level, or that how to do that one thing, even if it's how to weather their shoes. Shit, if someone asks you, hey, how did you do that? Don't be a dick. Just tell them like, hey, I did this. May not be the best way, but it's my way. Try it, And then it's just what's that? Give a man a fish or whatever type of thing. Yeah, it's like just. Now
you're right, and I find most people in the community are pretty open, but there have been others where it's like, okay, you didn't invent the camera, you didn't invent lighting, you might have been, you did some neat stuff with it, but Trevor had some great words on that topic. It's like, listen, man, people have been doing still photography for decades. That's all toy photography is. I mean, we're not inventing anything new. It's just, we're using toys instead of humans. But that is, I mean, that's good to know, customizers out there, other artists. It sounds like Johnny is receptive to you hitting them up, maybe the first time's free, second time 99 cents per minute. Right?
Exactly. And then I do have my my members. What is it? What is that new thing? Members only. What is that new thing that people have on their IG?
Oh, what is it? Like the fans only
intro.
Only fans thing.
So you do like some nude work too.
Some nude,
tasteful nudes.
Yeah.
We'll have to get him hooked up with some Manscaped stuff, and he can put that on there, show people how to use the crop duster.
I thought it'd be kind of funny to have just a plain, because you can get that guy that's gonna be, I want to go see what they're doing, and just have some plain figure up there for the free zone, whatever.
Yeah, when you said OnlyFans, I mean, my head went right into the gutter. I'm thinking of stay-at-home moms and milfs that are on that making 6 figures a year, doing bikini shoots in between picking up the kids at school. More power to them. I'll tell you what, right now,
make that money.
If people would pay for me to sit around with my shirt off or my balls hanging out, I would love it. I mean, have at it. I don't care if they're gay or straight. Money's money, right? So I might have to look into that. I'll grow out more of my body hair and become like a mini bear or something in the community there. All right, man. Well, hey, Johnny, it's been great talking with you, man. It's really good chat.
Man. Like I said, you guys are my Tuesday. I catch it pretty much the first part, and then I listen off and on, and then for sure I catch the whole thing on Wednesdays. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it doesn't explode and you can watch the rest of the show. But right now I'm looking and I've got like red lights going off and on on the stream service. So I think we're still on the air right now. But anything else that you would like to plug before we let you go?
No, I mean, just questions, DM me. Feel free to ask. Get on that giveaway. I was pretty stoked because I started that page in 19. So being 2 years in, 6,000 is pretty good.
Awesome.
So again, I dig your guys' show. I always post the support the guys that get prints
you
from.
You are one of the best, my friend. I mean, trust me, I see all that stuff and I appreciate it. I mean, all bullshit aside, I truly do this show for, people like you that appreciate it. You find a little bit of the humor in our nonsense, and the fact that you make it a weekly listening or viewing experience that'll mean more to me than sponsor money or any of this type of shit. I'm all in it for the feedback. So, but I'm still an asshole. I'd love to see even more feedback. So keep it coming. I've always said I'm like Tinkerbell from Hook, right? You gotta clap to make me feel special, and then I come to life and my wings start flapping. So,
but I mean, I'll be really quick. I'll be honest. I started listening to you guys right before Mando season 2, and it took me a little bit because of the angry guy. I was like, what the heck's going on? What's this guy's problem? But shit, I kept coming back. I was like, what do they have to say? Because again, I'm sorry. Now, I said this to you guys, at least to Matt for sure, a couple of times already. I give everybody else a fair chance. And I have to say that, I won't say who, but anyhow, your guys' content is not only spot on, it's informative, and it's fucking intelligent. It's not just this bullshit, and it's like, that's why I enjoy it. And like I said, it took me a little bit, probably like a few, maybe like 5 episodes where I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Oh boy.
But shit.
It was when Boba. You started watching right when Boba came in, and that was the Boba. I'll never be able to live down the Boba Fett episode or post podcast. That was rough. I basically pissed off Tones. OAC
left the show and never came back after that.
Oh shit! Are you serious?
He's come back.
No, OAC, yeah, he's back on. He but you know, I definitely offended him personally, so I've provided my mea culpas. You people got to remember, I'm never going to get on here and just do a standard Star Wars podcast that's monotone and everything's happy and I have problems, and sometimes I air them on the show.
That's funny.
But I take the feedback. I get it. Main dude, I'm clearly the issue here. So,
you know, Johnny, we've been called many things, and I believe you're the first person to ever call us intelligent, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
right?
why I keep Nick around, for the intelligent quotient. So,
you know, it's nice. It's nice to hear. You know, man, we appreciate it. We appreciate you stopping by. We appreciate it.
I thought he just hung up on us, but I guess that's a sign from the internet gods. They're like, yo, Matt, you haven't put enough quarters into the fucking machine yet, bro. Come on. You can't have 3 people live. We're going to kill the feed. But anyways, this is at Johnny Osage Avenue on Instagram. Make sure to check out his 6,000 giveaway. It's for that awesome custom Mandalorian. You can find them on Instagram. Just search for Johnny. I bet even Johnny AVE would probably lead people to the promised land. So
probably,
yeah,
probably. Or if anybody follows, like I've been paying that Land Speeder Luke stuff that $27.97 is printing out. So most likely, if people order that, I'll be the one painting it. So.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. And we got to mention in here from Bat, one of our buddies. You can also buy some of, like Johnny said, his painted stuff from 2797 Studios. So they're also on Instagram. Yep. We try to promote their work whenever they tag us. I know it's not all the time, but I'm always down to share customizers in our stories. And sometimes, like I believe with Johnny's Omega, those even get features. You know, Nick's never picked him for a top 5, so you have to write your hate mail to
Johnny's
him.
Been in the top 5. I'm pretty sure Johnny's been in the top 5 at least one time, because I can specifically remember a top 5 for Johnny in the past. I mean, at this point, it's getting hard to remember all of them because it's been years of top 5s every week. But you know, I know that Johnny's made it.
I think so, because I've been on the page. I've been 3 times, and I think the first time I think I might have made it in the top 5, because I remember I was like, what is this? I didn't know what it was.
See, you get it wrapped in like that.
Yeah, we're like crack. You know, it's not as good as cocaine, but it's still addictive.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna leave Johnny's. This is one of my favorite, just random creations. As we say goodbye, this is his G'day, a bubblegum Kanga clone. Just check this thing out hilarious. To see. His creative brain, but this is a fantastic, just again, you would never see this anywhere, and that's why people like Johnny are fantastic. So thank you again, my friend. It was a blast talking with you. I'll make sure you keep promoting us on Instagram. If not, I'll send you some hate mail. Just kidding, man. All right, we're going to move on with the rest of the show. We appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, no, thank you.
All right, see you later.
Bye. Later.
All right. Let's go ahead and switch up the feed. We got end bumpers running. I don't have the browser up. It's okay. This is the Star Wars time show. There we go. We got
that was fun.
Yeah, no,
Johnny is a true, just artistic genius.
Yep. I mean,
this man is a customizer, a real ass painter, an architect. I mean, what can he not do?
It's true, and I've always said this. I mean, people like him, and you heard it. I mean, his father was a craftsman too. It's got to be in the jizz, right? I mean, there's got to be some DNA. This isn't something we could take a vaccine for to change our DNA and make us shed COVID. You know what I mean? But no, he's a great guy. I mean, he's someone that, you diehards know that when you interact on socials, you're interacting with me, right? Nick is the true star. He only works on Tuesdays. That's why last week, I think the YouTuber was like, hey man, there's just some feedback. I was like, listen, I'm just telling you, Nick is not going to see this comment, because my reply to the person was like, hey, this is great not hearing Matt's fat ass step all over Nick. I was like, well, it's too bad he doesn't check comments. And they're like, it was just feedback, Matt. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. Like, Nick literally will not look at the comment, but I let him know. So, yeah.
Thank you.
One more time, at Johnny_Osage, OSAGE_AVE. Just a good dude. And what I'm finding is that most people that were born in the 70s and early 80s are good people. It's all you cocksuckers born in the 90s and beyond that have fucked everything up. So.
All you young, except you, Sir Dork. Jared, you're okay.
I'm just kidding. Remember, I like the joke. Don't take it too personally. Phoenix, I forgot to ask him if the giveaway was international. I saw that and I completely blew it.
It does not say that it's not international, is what I'll say.
Well, then
so
I would recommend you try, you enter, and if you win, just be like, well, I didn't know, and just make Johnny feel bad and ship it to Germany. Well, no,
nope,
I think Phoenix is Austria. I think Phoenix, is he Austria or Germany? I can't remember. All right, so here we go, my friend. Now we got to do the tour of all things Star Wars. I actually believe we have interviews planned for the next 3 weeks. This is Spencer is keeping us busy these days.
Yeah, I know, right?
But if the one,
we have some good ones coming.
Yeah, if the one shows up next week, you people are going to be impressed.
Yeah,
I'm just going to hedge it that way. All right, I'm not even going to tease it yet. Just know it's never on us, and it's never the guest's fault. It's just we're a tiny podcast, and They probably drink when they talk to Spencer, and then when the day comes, they're like, "Oh shit, I said that."
It's like, what?
Cancel.
Yeah. Let me fire my agent. It's like, who did you talk to?
Oh, you know what, Nick? I think we should probably tell our friends about our other friends before we get into the Bad Batch.
I think so.
And what I'm talking about, just let me got to make sure everything is in order so we don't get in trouble. Here we go. There's that. And now let's get this thing going here. All right. Now we're ready. You know what's coming, and trust me, we are proud to tell you. You know what's coming, Nick? Well, summer is coming. Hell, it's here. And in my opinion, it's already over, right? I told you once July 4th come, summer ends, and I know the rest of you now agree with me. But anyway, summer's coming. So are you ready to unveil your beach bod? You're in luck. Our friends at Manscaped just launched their 4th generation performance package, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. That's the one Nick and I have been talking about for, a month and a half now. I'm sure Nick just gave himself a fresh shave this morning. But anyways, compliment your summer bod with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. The sun is shining and calling your name, fellas. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS. So Nick, we got this performance package 4.0. And
yes,
no lie. Like there's no spin. This is no sponsorship nonsense here. I've become a huge fan of Manscaped's grooming products, just even more so than the trimmers, the Weed Whacker, which is the new nose hair trimmer they sent us, which I need. I don't know about you. Do you have bushes growing out of your nose every day?
Dude, that's what I talked about on the last one, was that you don't really realize you need a nose hair trimmer until like somebody tells you. Because like Taylor, that was the first time I realized. She's like, your nose hair is like, you could see it. She's like, your nose hair is almost touching your mustache. I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I try to braid my nose hair into my mustache at some point in times, but luckily with Manscaped's Weed Whacker, and it really does sound like you're whacking weeds when you jam it in there if it's been a while. But I no longer have that issue, as well as, you get hair in the ears too. And plus with the Lawnmower 4.0, I mean, not only can we trim our nose with the Weed Whacker, but with the 4.0, we're taking off our armpit hair. We're trimming our ball hair either right down to the skin, or leave a little bit on there. It depends on what you like or what your lady friend or guy friend may be into. But
chest hair,
like us, it's time to bundle up with Manscaped and their Performance Package 4.0. That's what you should be seeing on your screen right now, because inside this package you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker, which is an ear and nose hair trimmer, waterproof, I might add, crop preserver ball deodorant, crop reviver toner, the boxer briefs that we have already raved about, and a travel bag. And before I move on, this is no joke. I will be buying these on a repeating basis now. Think like subscribe and save. The ball deodorant is unlike anything I've ever used before, and it truly does what it says it is going to do. My balls no longer have that ball smell at the end of the day. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. And the toner is another great thing because, you might not want to bring a bottle of ball deodorant around with you because it's like it's a cream, right?
It's like a cream, yeah.
When I apply it, I might stay down there a little too long and have a little too much fun, but it's a cream where the Reviver toner, it's a spray. So let's say, you're out, I was at Cedar Point all last week getting swamp ass in the lines. If I had my toner on me, Nick, I could have just shoved it down my pants, gave myself 2 sprays, and I would have been smelling fresh. The one thing that's not mentioned in this that I also want to talk about is the foot spray. I think it's called the foot duster. Oh, that is another one that
yes, I've been using that all the time.
And Nick, what I found to be the beauty, because we also got some body wash from them, is the scent is all the same. So, sometimes guys or even girls, you may, your perfume smells one way, your deodorant another, your lotion another. Manscaped's got you covered. All smells the same, and it smells great. So let's move on here. So first off, the new Performance Package 4.0 includes the lawnmower like we talked about. All right, this is the trimmer that's insanely fast and efficient. It's the GOAT of ball trimmers, right? Yes, we said that. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor. So there are no pubes too strong for this thing to mow through. It has a multi-function on-off switch with a travel lock for those of you that are on the road. And it also gives you the ability to use a 4000K LED spotlight just in case you need to get to those hard-to-see areas. And guess what? The trimmer is waterproof too. So you can do it in the shower or in the wild and from your chest pubes all the way down to your ball fro. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the best trimmer for you. But if you want to take your grooming game even further to the next level, the Performance Package 4.0 also includes that lovely weed whacker we just talked about. This thing is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. Okay, so this nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which I can vouch for. I've had no pulls, no nicks, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. So seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulations before heading outside. Like I said, use that crop preserver ball deodorant. It is awesome. Then, after trimming the lawn and whacking the weeds in the heat, give your beach balls a boost and use the crop reviver. I promise you, the stuff works. My wife likes me again, guys. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts with the Performance Package 4.0. So you get the Manscaped boxers, which I know our fans can attest to, as well as myself and Nick, as well as the Shed travel bag. All right. So friends, to get 20% off plus free shipping, just use the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. Escape the shrubs and weeds this summer and shine with Manscaped. All right.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding, people. Like the stuff you put on your balls, it's awesome.
I use it every day.
Yeah,
it's like a part of the routine.
100%. And this is not just, salesmanship. This is real life. We are not bullshitting you. All right.
Dude, I kind of laughed when I first got it. I was like, who needs all this stuff? Like, I'm not like a product person. Like, I barely use lotion. And then I find like when I finally got it, I started using it and I was like, damn, this shit's actually nice. I really like it.
No, I mean, Nick, I was kind of like you. I mean, I've never used cologne. I'll throw on some deodorant and maybe some just man face lotion. But it's been decades since I really cared about how I smelled or even looked. But I'll tell you what, using this type of stuff, it just makes you feel better. All right.
Yeah,
I can say that as a man. When I smell like a clean man, a manly man, I feel better as a man. So I will be continuing to order these things. The body wash, the ball deodorant, the foot spray, it's all fantastic.
No, dude. As funny as it sounds, it's legit shit.
All right.
So definitely give him a check.
So let's go ahead and get on here with the show, with the Bad Batch, which I've kind of dubbed this episode. So we're breaking down S1E11, aka Devil's Deal. You know, earlier I said Nick and I we kind of missed on our title speculations for these past 2 episodes. The one I missed last week, and then this one. But I'll tell you what, Devil's Deal was something else. It was something I wasn't expecting in this series, Nick, and I say that because the Bad Batch was in it for a minute?
2 minutes at most.
I mean, a really casual scene. I kind of like how they did that, though. I mean, they I guess they're showing you like, hey, Bad Batch can be more than just following Clone Force 99. So I appreciate that. I obviously I've dubbed it Star Wars Rebel Zero. Anyone that's a fan of Rebels and Hera and Chopper in particular was probably moved or inspired, maybe be too strong of a word with this episode. But it was a great bit of lore exposure for the character of Hera Syndulla, and we'll throw Chop in there as well. So I think overall, while it was the most unique Bad Batch episode we've had to date, because the namesake stars weren't really even in it, right? But for people that have dedicated their lives to the Clone Wars and Rebels, it was kind of like a return home.
It was a one for you kind of episode.
And Nick's saying that because he knows, like, I basically masturbate to Star Wars lore. Like, I love learning Star Wars lore. That's why I was so excited way back when the prequels were coming, because I wanted to see those stories. Just like I love seeing what Hera was up to at this point in time in the galaxy. So overall, S1E11 to me was pretty great, thanks to its just unique delivery, and then obviously for the story it's painting for Hera's past. All right, so let's get down and kind of pick up some of the eggs and references here. I'll be honest, I mean, the Bad Batch has been very light on what I would call the dictionary definition of an Easter egg. Outside of Sid's office, there really has not been much. We had the trooper doll, shit like that. I still call it Easter eggs because I know that's what people may click on versus Star Wars references. So sue me if you don't like the terminology. But anyways, Nick, in the let me get my. Oh, come on. All right, whatever. So we start out again with some very familiar faces, especially if you're diehard TCW or Rebels, and we start out with Gobi Glee. So Gobi Glee, we know he was in Clone Wars. I also think he's in Rebels. We know it's Hera's uncle, and we actually learned through this episode that she probably gets some of her edge from Gobi and her mother, which we finally got to meet. So that was one of the first references we got right off the bat. And then at that big kind of stumping scene where Cham essentially sold himself out, we get to see one of the fattest senators in the galaxy, an Orn Free Ta. This guy dates all the way back to Attack of the Clones, I believe, or maybe even Phantom Menace.
I think he might have been in the Senate chambers in Phantom Menace when they were calling for the vote of no confidence.
So, I mean, he's been around for a while. He was in Clone Wars 2. I know Tones mentioned that based on what happens to him in this episode, it may break some canon in words and shit. I'm pretty sure he's dead. I mean, we'll get there. Crosshair doesn't miss, and the bolt hit him in his fucking head. So unless that was a new type of Star Wars stun bolt, I'm pretty sure he is out. But hey, I mean, I know it's technically not even a reference because we've never seen her before, but we also get to see Eleni Syndulla for the first time. We've seen her in, some family heirloom art pieces. I think, was that Thrawn stole that painting? Or we've seen her in paintings before.
It was in Thrawn's office.
But this is the first time we've ever seen her. And I'll tell you what, I now know where Hera gets those good-looking Twi'lek looks from, because
I was gonna say, Matt, if you could pick one planet to live on, would it be Ryloth?
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
so.
that would be like
I
your
think so.
fucking,
Yeah, I'm such a perv
jam.
for the Lekus. I don't know what it is, Nick. It's like green or blue women with stuff coming out of their head. It just does something for me. And Hera's mom may be even better looking than Hera herself. So it was good to see Eleni there. But we also got, and this is more for the collectors out there, but if you're watching on the live stream, you can kind of see in the background, but we got this clone captain who was billed as Clone Captain Ballast in this Vintage Collection 4-pack that just released. But we learned at least that they call him Captain Hauser. So I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. But that was, again, that's a reference because this clone was kind of spoiled before he even had his show's debut, thanks to Hasbro. Yep. Thanks, Hasbro. And then good old Cham, he's another one. He's been here since Clone Wars. There was a big arc, the whole Ryloth arc from the Clone Wars, and I believe he was also in Rebels when they headed back there later on in that show's run. So there's Cham and Hauser. How about Hauser though? Like we'll talk about him a bit more in the key points. There's something different about this clone, and
I was gonna say,
I just don't know what, because I don't know that he can't have his chip removed. I know someone said
I was gonna say
Go ahead.
He's not fully bought in, is the best way to put it.
I mean, you can tell from the beginning of this episode to the end. In his head, he is questioning everything Rampart is telling him to do. And sometimes he's even like, but she's a kid. Like, seriously? Like, what the fuck are you doing? So he is not full-on Kool-Aid drunk like the rest of the clones. And another thing, and this isn't by accident, Nick, he still has his color coding, right? He still has painted armor.
He's still got the colors on his armor.
Again, that's a purposeful choice by the show's writers and artists, I think, to just visually signify that, hey, this guy is not like the rest, even after Order 66. And I think we'll kind of find that out coming up this week in the next episode, which is literally called Rescue on Ryloth, I believe. So that's the one where Nick and I, we got some speculation right about seeing Hera and Bad Batch, but it was for the episode coming up this week, not the past two. So I'm sorry I beat myself with the cattails earlier. I will punish myself for fails, just like I celebrate for my wins. And then the big one. I mean, this was huge. We knew it was coming, right? When we saw that rescue on Ryloth, they're like, okay, you're not going to Ryloth without showing a young Hera. So I will give Nick and I credit for that call. We were just an episode early. Did you find it interesting that they kept her accent? Because that was Vanessa Marshall. Because I had some friends like, why the fuck did they get a different voice actress? As like they didn't. They just made a choice that because she's still on her home planet and has never left, she still has her accent.
So I thought at first it kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh wow, they she's
they talk like talk like the French, like oui, hey mommy, daddy.
Yeah. And then after a while, I think that's kind of the conclusion that I came to as well, was that like she's still on her home planet. She probably hasn't heard, too much conversation outside of the Twi'leks on Ryloth. So that's just the way she speaks. And she has no reason to like mask her accent for any reason.
Well, I mean, think about it. She's probably 12, 13, early teens at this point.
Yeah, she's still a kid.
I moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania when I was 14. Lived there my whole life. Anyone that lives in Pittsburgh now or has lived there, it has a very distinct dialect. The Yins and the Rat 8 and Gum Band. I mean, it's a very distinct accent. I don't have it. I moved at 14 to the boring Midwest, which essentially drowned it out. So I think we could just be okay with the fact that Hera just naturally lost that hard Rylothian accent when she left her planet, which we're going to see on Friday. I mean, let's be real. I don't want to do our speculations yet, but just based on the title, we're getting a direct follow-up to the cliffhanger that was Devil's Deal. And I don't think it's going to be a surprise who is going to ultimately rescue her. It's going to be Hauser and the Bad Batch. I think Hauser's probably going to sacrifice himself. I'm also going to call that Hera's mom will die trying to protect Hera in the next episode. That's inevitable. Hauser will probably die trying to get her off planet with the Bad Batch, but the Bad Batch is coming back to save Hera. That's easy. I'm not even going to get boastful about that one, Nick.
That's free. Yeah, that's free speculation.
But hey, I'll tell you what. Just seeing her and the fact that she, I guess I just kind of glossed over the fact that Chopper was her droid and has probably been with the Syndulla clan his entire existence, which is why I love him even more, because did he seem as ornery to you?
I was going to say, he doesn't seem like he was as
he seems a little more like yes ma'am, like especially to Eleni. He's like, you got it boss. Like he seemed more of a willing participant. And maybe we'll see why he gets a little angry or curmudgeonly in his. I was going to say,
like,
years.
I think it's probably because he probably looks at Hera as like a sister figure and not as much as the matriarch or the leader of the family, and that's what he was used to with Eleni. And when she's gone, he maintains that type of relationship with Hera. Not, she doesn't become the matriarch; she's still the little sister or something like that.
Yeah, because in Rebels, like if someone told him to stay there or wait for my signal to bring the speeder up, he would have been like,
always got something to say.
Yeah, he would have been like, hey, fuck you. Maybe popped out one of his little arms. No, it was great seeing these two, and we knew it was coming. We just missed it by an episode or two. And she's not done yet. Like I said, this episode coming up this Friday seems to be, or should be, a cliffhanger, or pay off on the cliffhanger, which was essentially Rampart saying she's not getting off planet, Hauser looking a little sketchy, and then you just see Hera kind of floating away like, oh shit, what is happening to my family and life right now?
Yeah.
Here we had all sorts of Clone Wars era vehicles that are still being used. You got the LAT, right? The clone gunships. You had a Juggernaut, and we actually saw the Empire's already using Juggernauts as prisoner transports, just like we saw in Rogue One. So that I guess we did get some direct eggs there. Even the clone speeders are the same speeders you see in Revenge of the Sith. And last but not least, we get a Blurg sighting. All right, we knew Rylothians used Blurgs from the Clone Wars, but that was still not the first franchise to introduce this beast. Blurgs actually debuted way back in those Ewok movies.
I was going to say, like, it was like the Caravan of Courage.
I don't know if it's Caravan of Courage or the one with, what's his name, Sarek? That's fucking like Star Trek, I think. Tarek. Yeah, there you go. Tarek, the evil guy and the witch. But that's actually where Blurgs, I believe, first appeared in Star Wars. All right, so those are your references and eggs. Now for the key stuff, stuff that for Nick and I to chew on. I found that, if you're an avid watcher of Clone Wars and Rebels, I really appreciated the opening scene of watching Cham kind of take one for the team, or he thought he was taking one for the team. Because, Cham has always been a hardcore freedom fighter. I mean, he's always been Rylothians or bust. He was even itchy about teaming up with the Republic back in the Clone Wars era. Yeah. So I found it very impactful, and it had to happen because no one was going to believe Fatso, right? No Rylothian was going to buy into whatever Orn Free Ta was saying. But you could see Cham without even being manipulated. Like usually this would be, you'd have the Empire. I mean, just Copes, no. I mean, one episode prior, they were doing the same thing on Raxus, right? They were essentially holding a gun to the senator's head without holding it, saying you better say the right thing. Here, Cham willingly throws in with the Empire. Which to me, it shows a little growth with him, but also he kind of
he can read the landscape. He knows what's coming.
Right. He also has a little blind spot here to the Imperials. Like, I mean, Gobi Glee is the one that knows. I mean, he knew there was some bullshit going on right from the get-go. But like I said, it seems like Cham really was trying to make this new peace work with the Imperials, but clearly that gets all blown up within 22 minutes after the speech. So it's just for the character. Like I said, if you grew up watching him in Clone Wars, and even the way he acted towards Hera in Rebels, it was a different departure. Yeah, it was a different type of Cham, but he felt like he had to do it. I really do believe he thought he was doing the right thing in accepting the Imperial occupation and turning over their weapons. Next key moment here, obviously, was getting Hera and Chopper, but the fact that they were already being rebellious. As a little kid,
already spying on the installation. As
a little kid, Hera is already going against the Empire. Plus those scenes, and the cinematography in this episode was like movie quality. I mean, there were some of those shots when they left Ryloth and came back. Those wide sweeping landscape shots were beautiful. But the ones I'm talking about here, where you kind of see how much love Hera has for piloting, where she's just kind of laying on her back, daydreaming, moving her hand through the air with the birds. I loved all that stuff. Again, like Nick said, I get a hard on for just these little itty bitty lore nuggets for Hera. Her accent, her rebellious nature from the get-go, her extreme love for piloting. I mean, hell, she's not even a full pilot yet.
Yeah, they won't even let her take off or land the ship. It's little things like that people don't appreciate who are more, I would say, like more casual fans. Like if you're a casual fan of Star Wars, this episode is probably not for you.
Oh, you wouldn't have paid 2 cents to the fact that Hera was talking about learning how to fly. You'd be like, who gives a shit, kid? Shut the fuck up. But for people like us, where you like to see how the dots connect throughout the eras, I find it very interesting to see a Hera not being the amazing pilot that she was by the time we met her in Rebels. I mean, Nick, tell me if I'm wrong here, but we could argue Hera Syndulla ends up becoming one of the greatest Rebel pilots and strategists of all time.
Yeah, I mean, she makes it all the way through, at least from what we can tell. She even makes it all the way through to the end of Tross when the battles come in.
At least the Ghost does, but I mean, through Squadrons, we know she's an active general leading armadas still. She was the main Rebel or New Republic general behind that big ass ship they were trying to hide from the Empire. So again, I like seeing where the roots were planted, and then we get to see how they grow into the character we first met. So this is doing prequel type of Star Wars content right. Okay.
Yes.
So I really appreciated Hera and Chopper, and we're going to get to see them again.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, Nick. I want to know if you have a feeling, not in your pants, but in your brain. I have a feeling Omega and Hera are going to become some sort of maybe even just pen pals for now. I love their little meeting, like
setting that up.
2 little girls just kind of chatting and being amazed at the ship. And I loved Omega's tour, and Hera, just basically getting THO over the cockpit and all that stuff.
You get to live on a starship.
I know, it was fantastic. You get to
see little moments like that, and I think you're on to something. I think that we know that Hera eventually loses her mother. Like we know that happens.
That's coming on Friday. Spoilers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that you're spot on when you said that was going to happen in the next episode. And then, but we also know that she essentially has the rebellion as her adopted family. And I think that the Bad Batch and Omega in particular is going to be like the first iteration of that. Like where else can this girl go other than to tag along with them for a little while? And then we still haven't seen officially the Bad Batch interact with the rebellion in any form or fashion outside of like the one meeting with Rex and then everything else has just been freelance mercenary work. So like I feel like this is going to lead them as directly to the rebellion as anything else can.
You're right, because when I was out last week, I don't know if you talked about it, but the Common Ground episode 10, I mean, they do it kind of subtly, but they knock off two narrative shackles, as I'll call them. The debt to Sid is paid, right?
Yeah.
So they no longer have to mill around there. And Omega cements herself as an elite strategist and gets Hunter to commit that he'll never leave her again. So those to me, like I said, those are two kind of narrative handcuff moments that the Bad Batch has had to adhere to, but they no longer do. So Nick's 100% right. At this, I would say from Rescue on Ryloth on, it could be a whole different flow to the end in episode 16, meaning we're not going to be hanging out on Ord Mantell anymore. They're not really going to be doing jobs. I mean, hell, at this point, they could just be trying to get Hera safe, and then it'll be back to people hunting down Omega, and they got to keep bouncing around there. Maybe Boba shows up. But I mean, even for future Star Wars, I don't think the Hera Omega meeting and the way it played out in this episode was just for shits and giggles. I think it was a kind of an establishing moment for these two, to where if they decide to, green light it and get things going again, the Rangers of the Republic, both of these ladies would be fantastic for that. The Ahsoka series, you could argue they could cross into, but it just felt like these two will probably link up again, and possibly even in future Star Wars yet to be told.
Yeah. And
next, I think this is it's not our last one in terms of screens, but I guess I deleted shit. But the whole Syndulla trap, it was like a double trap. The Syndullas thought they had a trap going, but in the end, this Rampart guy may be a pretty decent strategist himself.
He can read the movements of others pretty well.
It seems, Nick, that he and Crosshairs kind of have like a special relationship. Like he runs all the extremely shady shit, like the secret plans through Crosshairs and not through Hauser and the other clones. Do you pick up on that? Yeah, because it just seems like everything kind of lined up and fell right into Rampart's plans. I think he wanted everything to happen that did. It was his way to villainize the Syndullas and just completely remove them from the map on Ryloth. Because he knows too, if you have a Cham Syndulla and a Gabi Glee and a Eleni Syndulla running around out there, within a few months, they're going to be over the Imperial occupation. Yeah. I mean, Gobi is already trying to build up fucking weapon caches and sending his niece to spy on Imperial installations. So Rampart, I mean, he wanted the Syndullas gone just as bad as Orn Free Ta. And I'm sure he's not sad that Orn took a shot to the head to get it done. Like I said, apparently, Tones brought this up. Apparently, Orn dying here, which I do think he's dead. I mean, we saw the shot, we saw the body getting pulled off on a stretcher. That typically checks off a lot of the boxes for pop culture deaths. So he should be dead. He should be dead. You never truly know, because I mean, Boba Fett did come back from the Sarlacc, which apparently digests people for 6,000 years. So.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because his head's so fat, so the bullet didn't or he got shot.
Yeah, maybe
in,
it hit a Leku, and just that. I'm assuming that's nothing but lard.
Didn't penetrate all the way. But who knows?
But
I mean, it was clearly a headshot, though.
But I mean, hey, if the book canon gets overwritten, that's why I've always told you, EUs and you words and shit lovers. Nick said it himself. Like even the novelizations of the movies, he's like, listen, you can't. A lot of the writing stuff you can't really take as canon. It might be when they write it, but 10 years down the road, a guy named Dave Filoni may fucking change it and make his own canon. So, but I don't know. I mean, just the strategy going on here between the Syndullas and the Empire is obviously going to lead to a very explosive culmination in Rescue on Ryloth. So from here, Nick, I think we can kind of do a little I've teased a few of my own, but I believe I think Hera's mom is going to die jumping in front of a blast either meant for Hera or Cham. I think that's how she goes out. I think Hera ultimately gets out. Like I said, it's going to be kind of a two-pronged effort with Hauser somehow, and we'll talk about him next. And clearly the Bad Batch is coming back to Ryloth. I mean, you're not going to have another episode where they just deliver weapons to somebody on a moon and disappear. They will be here for the fireworks.
Yeah. So I definitely agree that this is where Hera's mom has to go out. There's no avenue out for her. I don't think. Like there's no story thread that she needs to be in outside of this.
Well, it makes what we already know about Hera's past. It's going to cement the fact that she witnessed the Empire essentially murder her mother. Yeah.
As for Hauser,
let's talk about this guy. What do you think about this clone?
I don't know. I mean, like obviously you can see he has a scar on his face. And I don't know if that plays a role. Like, I don't know if for example, if head injury can like affect the way that your chip is working or something like that. But he's definitely not as like dialed in and just like robotically controlled as everybody else is.
Now, do you feel it's so significant that we're going to need some form of explanation? Or are you just going to roll with it that he's somehow just a good clone?
I think that we'll get an explanation because, unlike you, I don't think he's gonna die. Like, I think that he's gonna make it, and I think that he may even defect in the next episode.
Okay.
Like, there's in my opinion, when he sees the batch come in and like the rescue effort begins, I think what's likely going to happen is like he'll be sent against them. Obviously, he's the commander and in charge of the troops on Ryloth. But he'll have that either moment of hesitation to where like he essentially stops himself from any aggression towards them, or he will just straight up turn on his own men and defect. And if he does do that, if he does make it out alive, then there's gonna have to be a conversation between at least Tech and Hauser on like, all right, how exactly is this not happening?
So you have a slightly different take on. I think he's toast. I think he will ultimately sacrifice himself to get Hera fully off the planet because a lot of his I'm going to use this term a lot of people like, but his woke moments were always revolving around either the Syndulas or the kid. Yeah. Like he had a real hard problem with locking up a kid.
See, I think that there's too much. I think that what they're trying to do is like Tech is constantly getting little pieces of information about how this chip either works or doesn't work. Like with Wrecker, he found out, like, okay, even though it seemed like it was dormant, it could turn back on. But he's also learned like why it doesn't work in some cases.
I mean, this guy just seems Hauser, he's almost like Echo, where the fucking chip is just completely dead. Because while he still did a lot of yes sirs, he would question it. Where we know a Crosshair or a Reg, they don't fuck around. They're just like,
good soldiers.
Yeah, like, all right, hey, shoot this kid. I mean, literally, you have Crosshair, aim for the kid. I mean, they don't fuck around. This guy seems to, even more so than when Rex got his chip flipped, like this guy seems more with it. I know we could argue, well, there's no Jedi present. He doesn't know the Bad Batch or traitors. Well, then, it's like, how did these chips function? We've talked about this.
It's not even to that level. It's like, the chip is you are given an order, you follow it. There's you can't hesitate. There is no moment of like thinking. It's just you do it.
I mean, we'll go back to the Wrecker moment, right? Or the Wrecker episode where he finally loses it. I mean, is the chip telling him the Bad Batch are traitors, or did he know that because he was with them when they did the traitoring?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So like, how
based off of information gathering?
That's what I mean. Like, and this was my theory. Like the Empire can just download shit to the chip and essentially you hate these people now. Hate them.
Exactly.
It just it does not seem like Hauser has any of the hate programming yet. And I hope we find out why. I don't want this glossed over. Like, oh yeah, he was just one of the good ones. Because fuck you, Rex himself the greatest and probably the most generous heart clone of them all, couldn't fucking beat the chip without help.
Yeah.
So there's no way Hauser is beating it just by himself.
Yeah. And like this has changed a lot in like previous canon, like old EU canon and now, because like in old EU canon, there were literally clones that like that literally they were with their Jedi at the moment, and they told them, they were like, run, we'll give you a head start, but then we have to come after you. And that seems kind of like what Hauser is. Like he's like a guy, he's like still a soldier, but he has some sense, he has enough sense to him where he's like, I know that this is not right. Like something's fucked up here. I'm still a soldier, but I still have questions, and I'm not just gonna fucking blindly follow you. So I do think that if he lives and he somehow ends up with the batch, then there's a lot of information to be gathered on Tech's side of like how exactly is he like even slightly going against the program.
Yeah, we had a theory in our Discord. I don't know if it was Tones or, hey, join the Discord, by the way. Check out our bio link on our Instagram profile. That's the easiest way to do it. But Tones was like, maybe Rex got to him already. I was like, possibility, a very slight one, but it something has had to happen. I really hope it's addressed. Because unlike Nick, I believe Hauser's time in this series is short. I think he's going to go out doing a very heroic act against his conditioning, or maybe not conditioning. But I do want to know. And, maybe even though the scar on his face is on the opposite side of the chip, who knows? Maybe the concussion, the shock might have done something. Yeah. But he's still going along with the Empire, where people that had the chips ripped out, they see it right away, like, oh, this is fucking off. So who knows? A very interesting clone, nonetheless, right? I mean, I think we can at least leave it with that. Hauser started off as Ballast, now he's Hauser. He somehow doesn't seem psychotic.
Maybe his name is Ballast Hauser.
There you go.
Like, who knows?
Well, all their names are CT something, and then they give themselves names. But
they just give them,
The last thing on this guy, and I'm sure you picked up on this, but I equate his relationship with Cham and the Syndulas like the relationship a lot of the clones had with their Jedi generals, because it seems with Ryloth, at least, once the Republic came first to help them, the Rylothians and then just clones kind of stayed back and fought separatists. It didn't seem like they had a Jedi stuck with them.
General.
So it seems like Hauser kind of became that buddy clone with General Cham Syndulla versus a Jedi. And maybe that's why he struggles to see anything bad happening with the Syndulla family. But he still
there's like humanity there.
He still has a little too much humanity, I think, though. A little too much. Something's going on, and hopefully we get some insights. If it goes Nick's way, we should definitely get him, because he's going to get some interviews and poked and prodded by Tech. If it goes my way, we may lose out on that type of lore. So you never know. But coming up this Friday, we know the title. It's Rescue on Ryloth. So, that's not too hard to speculate on. I think, Nick, we may hit a few on this episode in terms of our speculation scoreboard. So,
I hope so.
So just to remind everyone, here are my calls. Eleni Syndulla is going out, saving her daughter, a sacrifice type of move. Because Rampart and the clones or Crosshair are going to use Hera to really get to the parents somehow. I don't think Hera is completely free quite yet. Hauser will play a direct role in saving Hera, and the Bad Batch will be the ones to actually take her from planet and keep her safe, so she can one day grow up by the Ghost, find some other crew members, and become the leader of Phoenix Squadron.
Yeah. It'll be interesting too to see, like, if she does make it to the rebellion in this next episode, like if they get off of Ryloth, and then for some reason they like hook up with a rebel cell, are any of the future Ghost crew members is Zeb already there? Is somebody, does she run in with anybody that she eventually, Sabine would be too young. Like, is a young Kanan there? Like, I'm interested to see if they follow through any further on this plot line of like her joining the rebellion.
Well, I mean,
and
we saw young
eventually-
Kanan in this timeline. I mean,
Yeah,
this would be like
exactly,
their middle school love period, right? Because they're
I know,
both
right?
probably like
the first,
either early teens or that weenie tween in betweeny.
it would be like a rebellion daycare center. you have Hera and you have Kanan.
Yeah, it's the who's who of up and coming rebellion fighters. It's like they have a special program there on Yavin 4. Where they kind of identify people early on and put them into the program. But hey, I even if this was a Star Wars Rebels type of episode, I think if anything, it just goes to show you the vehicle that the Bad Batch can be for delivering excellent Star Wars lore set during a time period that we literally have zero storytelling in at this point, outside of stuff coming up 10 years from now with Kenobi and a few years after that with Solo. But up until that, all this shit is fresh. And so far, I think the Bad Batch team, under the tutelage of our Lord and Savior Dave Filoni, has done a fantastic job at kind of giving us diehards an inside look at what was going on at this point in time and how the Empire quickly became something that the systems wanted to rebel against. I mean, back-to-back episodes, we've seen two major planets from the Clone Wars era. I mean, Raxus was the seat of the separatist movement. And how they were essentially made to bend the knee. And that's never going to work. And that's why the rebellion formed and the Empire fell, 20 years after its formation. So fantastic stuff, Dave. I know you're listening. We appreciate you. Keep up the great work. We'll be talking about your action figure coming up soon. All right, we got some Mando stuff here, my friend. You've got an actual deal. I've got something that's interesting.
Yes,
and this isn't just bullshit. This isn't like Kessel Run's poo fling on Reddit type of stuff. This next story comes from legitimate, officially licensed material. And I'm thinking, Nick, either someone didn't update the listing after COVID, or they just fucked up. But what I'm talking about here, this showed up on the leaks this week. But there is a book listing from Random House called The Mandalorian Boba Fett Returns. It's supposed to be a screen comic, essentially, where it's just really nice glossy images from the show that tell a story as you flip pages. Perfect for dopes like Nick and myself, right? Not a lot of words, some great looking pictures. But anyways, if you really dug into the listing, you actually had to dig in, and I went and did it to verify it. This is a screenshot, but I verified it live. But if you dug into this book's listing under its key selling points, here's some of those selling points. And there's going to be one that's going to make you maybe raise your eyebrow or, get a little type of a what? So, The Book of Boba Fett premieres on Disney Plus December 2021. We know that. Yep. That's legit.
Makes sense.
All right.
Yep.
So far, so good. Here we go. Season 3 of The Mandalorian premieres on Disney Plus spring 2022. Okay?
That's,
What do you think about that, my friend?
Eyebrow raiser. I mean, we were always working under the assumption that it would just take the December slot back in 2022.
Yes.
Like
I've even taken it to the bank a few times. It's in the fucking Star Wars Time Show vault of speculation.
Yeah, it's in the... So what's interesting is that spring 2022 means that filming for this would probably have to start around December.
Bro, it would have already have had to start.
Yeah, I would say spring is early.
I think Book of Boba just ended, let's say conservatively 4 weeks ago, and that show's not coming out to December. And they were filming since the end of 2020. So here's what I'm thinking.
Like it's accelerated.
Do you think, and this is what can happen when you share a timeline, do you think they just concurrently shot some of Mando season 3 while they were doing Book of Boba?
It's very possible. I mean, you have the same players.
Yeah, we know Din's going to have a cameo regardless. They're not letting Disney's not letting their poster boy go away for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be a waste of money for them not to, because there's no way that you're not using some of the same like planets, some of the same setups,
Hell
some of the
yeah.
same players. So why waste the money and say like, okay, well, we're only filming Boba stuff here. We'll film the Mando stuff later with all of the same pieces. So yeah, it's very possible that 30% of this of Mando season 3 could have already been filmed.
I'm not saying they shot the whole thing. I mean, I think they should be shooting now. I would assume so, or getting ready to.
They have to start.
But we even had that
with the spring 2022 release date.
Yeah.
They
better get moving, because I mean, spring 2022. What was that cover? March to June is spring, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? Mid-March to mid-June is technically the spring season. So yeah, I would assume they would want to wrap their principal probably by October of 2021.
I mean, latest would be November, and then that would give you. They would give you December, January, February, 3 months of post if you wrapped in November. So. I mean, it's surprising to see that. I don't know if, like you said, maybe this is based off of like old information.
Well, here's the deal. I was thinking about this myself. I'm just gonna go out to the Edelweiss link. Yeah, right here. So here's another summary for this graphic novel, the Mandalorian Boba Fett Returns book that we're talking about. 80 pages. It's a Screen Comics, full color screen grabs, blah blah blah. So here's where I kind of think it may just be a dated listing.
Yeah.
We will be publishing approximately 3 to 4 Screen Comics per span starting summer 2020.
Oh,
Our pub dates will be timed with Blu-ray/DVD/digital and Disney Plus releases, as well as sequels and anniversaries.
Yeah, this had to be like a pre-COVID.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that, but I also would not be surprised if they did do some concurrent shoots, like, hey, we're out here, we can use a lot of this setup to shoot a scene for Mando. Because, I mean, I know Din's going to be in Book of Boba, has to. If anything, Boba's going to have to fucking drive him around, right? I mean, Din doesn't have a ship. He's going to need the Slave One, a.k.a. Boba Fett Starship.
Boba Fett Starship.
But yeah, hey, you never know. This is out there. Like I said, it's official. I'm thinking it might be an editing mishap. The reason I believe that even more now than I did before is the listing hasn't been taken down yet. This has been up unedited for multiple days now, which probably means it's a nothing burger, as the one side likes to say.
Oh well. But I mean, it's still very possible though that we
could
get
though,
a spring 2020
because
release date. It could happen.
If they're truly going to start kicking off all the other spin-offs, they may want to use the kind of the fall sweeps period to do so. Maybe Ahsoka gets the fall 2022 slot now instead of Mando, if this is true.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Book of Boba would run through what? If you have 8 episodes,
are we getting? I think
you would run.
I'm not sure if that's a 6 or an 8er. I know it's one or the other. I know it's one or the other.
Yeah. So even if you get a 6, then you run through.
End of January, probably, right?
The end of January, first week of February, depending on your premiere date in December.
Right.
So you make it all the way through January, then it would fall into the same cadence where you have a show and you have a month off, and then you come right back with the next. And
they've picked up their cadence now. We've seen that now that they've gotten some of the Marvel shows out. I mean, Loki's been running concurrently with Bad Batch. So our theory of trying to string along subscribers that don't want to keep paying is kind of out the window at this point in time.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. I mean, if anything else, what you can take away from this is that this isn't just bullshit from idiots like Nick and I throwing it out there into the ether. At one point in time, this was an official blessed listing that just went live, a few days ago. And it's either they don't give a shit because who cares? I mean, any promotion for their Disney Plus shows is not going to hurt them. Or it's just they forgot to edit that out. But hey, I don't think any fans of Star Wars or the Mando in particular would be upset knowing that he may be coming back or that whole ensemble may be coming back, except for
sooner than expected.
The lovely UFC fighter, sooner than we expected. 4 to 5 months after, hell, if Nick's timing's right, maybe 3 months after Book of Boba or 2. So that's exciting. So we can hold out a little hope for this, but just so I can get a speculation win, I'm still going to hedge my bet a bit and keep Mando in its fall time slot for 2022. But being a curator of the Star Wars time, I wanted to let other fans know that, hey, could be on the horizon sooner than later. Yeah. All right, Nick's got another Mando ditty for you here, and I'm excited for this type of stuff.
So this actually dropped like 5 minutes before we started recording, and the big news is that there will be a special edition, a special episode of Disney Gallery The Mandalorian that specifically talks about and shows you the making of the season 2 finale. And the season 2 finale, as we all know, is the Jesus moment, the Luke Skywalker moment.
You know why this is happening? Because they like just glossed over this in the hour and a half long breakdown that we got of season 2 right after season 2 ended. And I don't even think Mark Hamill was included in it.
Yeah, I don't believe so either. So they literally probably set this up as soon as Disney was like, oh, we're gonna do this. They were like, you know what? We're gonna have you can have the hour and a half on the regular the whole season up until the last one, and then we'll have a whole deal on the last one. And I mean, like I said, there's no information about what's going to be in it yet, but the screenshot that's accompanied the tweet that's from the official Mandalorian Twitter is the screenshot of the body double who played Luke going down the hallway fucking cutting people up.
Yeah, so, we're not getting times or anything. We just know it's going to hit Disney Plus on August 25th.
August 25th.
But I think Nick's right. I mean, it says it's literally for the finale. So I'm hoping, and I don't think it's going to be this long, but I'm hoping it's an hour or longer.
I would hope so
and
too.
And it's really nothing
enough.
but Mark Hamill on the set, doing his thing wherever he was at, talking to the double Lukes, talking to Filoni. Yeah. I could sit there and watch Filoni and Hamill talk like Star Wars lore, or just Hamill explain to Filoni like his Star Wars ideas and how he acted Luke, and just see Filoni absorb that and then give Hamill some of his insights into the lore. Now, this will be great. I mean, I'm glad you got this out there. So August 25th, I do think they're doing this because the first breakdown, the gallery for season 2, I do believe they touched on the finale because it's like they did a little ditty for every episode, right? But it wasn't much. And I know for sure there was no Hamill and all that jazz.
It requires more, that particular episode, and not even that whole episode, that moment, like that last 5 minutes requires more explanation just to show how it came together. Exactly. Because there was essentially nobody ever thought they were going to see Luke Skywalker again. After the end of TROS. Yeah. Like after the end of TROS, we were like, oh, that's the last time we'll see him. Bye-bye. Like no more Luke Skywalker. And then all of a sudden, you have him just making his appearance again in this show, and it requires you to see, like John and Dave need to tell us how the fuck how did you convince Mark to come back again?
That's the stuff I want to hear.
Yeah. How did you convince anybody at Lucasfilm to let you use Luke Skywalker in this show? You were under the impression for the longest time that he's off limits.
The whole marketing campaign behind TROS was the end of the Skywalker saga. I mean, they died on that sword, and it was pretty much like, listen, you're never going to see these fuckers again. If their last name's Skywalker, this is it. This is it. But hey, they did it. So yeah, I mean, just seeing Mark on set, if he was there, I mean, seeing him smile, seeing them interact, I could just sit there if it's B-roll footage where they're not even talking to the camera. I could just sit there like I'm just a fly on the wall, sitting there just absorbing Filoni and Hamill talking a scene, talking Star Wars. I'll even throw Favreau in there. I mean, Favreau, we got to give the man credit. He's the one that came up with the Mando and sold it and has created this world and its new worlds that are springing from it. But he's still not a Star Wars lore master like a Filoni. So I think seeing these guys chat with Hamill would just be utterly enjoyable.
Yeah.
I always like movie magic too. I mean, again, this Nick and I we talked about this. Watching shit like this, I usually get depressed and cry for myself because it's like, why did I not figure out my fucking life before I was in my 30s? You dumbass.
Yeah, it does make you sad a little bit. It makes me sad a little bit too, as like somebody who dreams of one day being Star Wars relevant.
I mean, dude, when I watched the Friends reunion, I was crying, but I was crying for the people because I was kind of projecting how they probably felt being back there after making something so special, and I was like trying to kind of glom on to that feeling of creating something that the world knows about and will last for eons. That's kind of sad for me as a human, but I look at people in the industry in Hollywood making movies, and it makes me sad for myself that I just didn't have it's not like I was a fuck up. I was raised right. I did everything right. I was never in jail. I just never had a clear picture in my head of what I wanted to do. It was always just keep your parents happy, get the college degree, it'll all figure itself out. Well, it did. I live a pretty nice life. I enjoy what I do. I have a great work-life balance, but I can tell you there's still a void in my soul for doing something that feels special and that other people honor it as being special. All right, that's where a lot of my nonsense on this show comes from. It's complete narcissism. I get it. I completely get it. But it's just the little boy in me still going like, hey, I want to be a part of something special that people love and come back for. and I get that feeling every time I watch a behind the scenes. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is the best at making you feel like you fucked up your life when you watch those behind the scenes moments and get to see the experiences those people shared together for almost 2 years.
And I mean they're all still close. It is hard.
So
it's fulfilling, but
there's their little Matt therapy session. I always got to get a little therapy out there. I try to explain why I'm crazy and why I have this void within me where it's like, please pay attention to me. It all stems from that. It's like I just want, I like feeling special just like the rest of you humans.
Exactly. All right. Disney Gallery Mandalorian special episode August 25th on Disney Plus. So catch that there.
So we got some Vision stuff for you, and I'm bummed that I missed out on this last week. I know Nick kind of took you through a bit of the tour, but we know when Visions is coming. I believe it's a September drop on Disney Plus. We got that excellent sizzle reel, and I think we were spot on with our guesses on what Visions was going to be. It really does kind of look like that Halo anthology or the Animatrix where, everyone kind of takes their own style and tone and approach, and we're going to have all these lovely little standalones. But what we learned this week, Nick, you threw it up here, but one of these shorts, we're going to kind of get a companion piece for it later on.
Yeah, so we had heard of the Ronin novel before, but it was never revealed that it was actually going to be a companion piece to the Duel.
We did this leak months ago, right? When it was just like a generic Visions. They're like, oh yeah, there's going to be a standalone Vision something. This is it.
Yeah, this is it. So it is a novel called Ronin.
Another win for the Star Wars Time Show.
Yeah, it is the accompanying piece to the Duel, which is one of the shorts that's going to be a part of Visions. And essentially what Ronin expands on is that in the short, the Duel, there is a duel that happens between a Sith and a Jedi, like a wandering Sith and a Jedi, and the book itself is going to go into much greater detail on this, quote, former unnamed Sith known only as Ronin, a wandering samurai, as he travels the galaxy, which I think is a super interesting lens into Star Wars that we've never actually seen before. You know, this is very steeped in Japanese culture, like the idea of a Ronin, right, of a wandering samurai with no clan. Like,
did you read this blurb, right?
Attributed to it.
Yeah. This blurb is great, so and if you read it, it's like it's a truncated version of Nick's specialty, kind of the old times where you did have the big Jedi and Sith battles, right? Because this is essentially saying, hey, 20 years ago, it was all these Jedi clans instead of samurai clans, blah, 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 fighting, this, that, and the other thing. You know, true samurai shit. But eventually, some of the Jedi rebelled against the other Jedi and called themselves the Sith. They had their own rebellion, which failed, succumbing to infighting and betrayal, right? So, you know, themes we've heard before from Nick when he talks about the old days. So it's almost like, you know, you are the master of this. It's kind of like a play on the origins of the Jedi and Sith. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I don't think that we have official canon anymore on that, on like the foundation of the Jedi Order, and then the schism that happens, and then you have the Sith empire that builds out of it. And look, I don't know if any of this stuff is canon anymore. Obviously, it's highly unlikely to be canon because you are telling stories in a very stylized way, and you're more using Star Wars as a vehicle to tell Japanese cultural stories than you are using Japanese culture to tell Star Wars stories, in my opinion, with Visions. But it would be cool if there was some canon, like if they did kind of canonize stuff like this to a degree. I don't know if I saw this somewhere. It's probably social media, but they address this directly. The whole is Ronin canon? Will any Visions be canon, loose canon? And I forget what they said, but it's more or less like it's canon in its own right, something like that, like its own little world. It's its own thing. But yeah, it'd be hard to accept the fact that Sith and Jedi were once samurais. So it's not, to me, it's not canon to the actual Star Wars. I feel like they probably treat it like they treat Legends now, to where it's like, oh, these were the tales told. Like, this is the story. But you're spot on. You're spot on. This is it's a culturally different way to deliver the narrative tones of the Star Wars universe. How's that? Yes, exactly. You know, they're going to have lightsabers and all that shit. But if you look at the cover here, I mean, he's literally in a kimono still. It looks like they even put their lightsabers into a sheath, which is going to be fucking badass. I mean, it looks like it's something unlike we've ever seen in Star Wars before. Like, you can liken it to stuff like, oh, well, what about like the Cal Kestises of the world and stuff like that? Like, he's a wandering Jedi without a clan and blah, blah. I mean, like, I can see like the comparisons, but like, I think the story that's going to be told with Ronin is going to be so unlike it, because you are focusing on solely like a former Sith, and you are focusing on somebody who's now completely lost, but also like still hunting in a way. Like, he still has a purpose to himself. And I just like the way that it's going to go. Like, I love the art of it, first off, and just, I like the concept of the whole thing. I mean, I'll tell you what, these are some words and shit that I would definitely like to get into, just because of how unique it is. And I'm a huge fan of Japanese culture. I've said it before in the show. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the greatest games of all time, and I think it honors that era pretty well. There's a documentary on Netflix that's fucking fantastic that covers the samurai eras in Japanese culture and the rise of one of the shoguns that actually brought a lot of these feuding clans together. And that's kind of what this the Dual Vision short and the Ronin novel that's what it's going to tell, but with a Star Wars spin to it. Thematically, you're going to see Star Wars stuff in it, but it's still, as Nick said, I think going to be true to the Japanese culture and how they tell stories and how they'll rely on their past and their warriors from their past. You know, we really don't have that over here in the States. I mean, what do we have? Fucking cowboys and Indian murderers. We have a bunch of scumbags that essentially came over here and genocided their way to victory. But a lot of these longer existing civilizations and countries have a much deeper and rich history.
Yeah. So Ronin novel is coming soon. It's available for pre-order now. It releases on October 12th, so you can go pick it up, go pre-order it if you want to. And then Star Wars Visions is dropping in September on Disney Plus. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, man, I mean, I kind of fucked off on the Vision stuff last week because I was up at the Point.
Mm-hmm. Is it a all-in-one dump because they're shorts, or are they doing a weekly cadence?
I think it's going to be an all-in-one because
you would think so.
It is. Yeah, it is confirmed to be shorts now, so I think it is going to be like an all-in-one kind of deal. They didn't confirm that yet, but if you listen to them talk, it seemed like this was going to be kind of like, here are all of the shorts at one time, instead of doing like, here's a 2-minute episode this week and then wait a week for another 2-minute episode.
That would seem silly. So hopefully Visions just gets dumped as an anthology. I'll definitely chew through that. I'm not sure how I'm going to cover Visions because they are.
Yeah, I don't think that they require, maybe just like,
they're gonna have like fucking cheeky Easter eggs in there. You know it. I'm gonna have to do it for the 10 people that watch the Bad Batch video.
Yeah, the whole do one video for the whole all 7
there you go.
Things, and then that way you don't have to.
Those that may not be fully in the know about this, I highly suggest heading over to StarWarsTime.net and reading Nick's write-up, and more importantly, the copy and paste blurb that he put in there. I think that's a great little elevator pitch for this book, and I hate fucking books. But it's definitely one that I might be able to listen to, even though I've given up on the High Republic stuff. I guess I'll make that official here, and it has nothing to do with the High Republic, Disney, or any of that crap. Apparently, I on Comixology, I subscribe to series just so the new issues always show up. Like this week, I know War of the Bounty Hunters #2 is coming out tomorrow or Wednesday, whenever you're listening. I can't wait. But for some reason, my High Republic went off subscription, and by the time I realized it, I had already missed an issue or two. And because I'm a lazy piece of shit, I was like, well, fuck it. I missed the 2 previous ones. Might as well just kill it now. So I am off the High Republic comic book run. Sorry for those of you that liked my little recaps. I don't know. I found after I missed one and I tried to pick up the thread in the next one, I was like, you know what? I don't really ultimately give a shit about this. So I liked where things were going. I love Kiev. I thought Skier was interesting. I'm down with the era. I'm not saying I'm one of these, fuck the High Republic stuff. It just was like, you know what? Ain't my thing. So I'm recommitting to the original trilogies in the era that is known, will soon be known as the Acolyte through TROS. Okay?
Yes.
There you go. There's a little PSA. A little who gives a shit PSA. Okay, it's toy time. We always, as we get closer to the fan segment, we always got to talk about any new collectibles that may be coming out for you to FOMO over. And boy, oh boy, Nick, did we get some FOMOs from our pals at Hasbro. The ones we're looking at now, if you're on the live stream, these are all considered Hasbro PulseCon 2021 exclusives, which means the bots will snag them before the fans can even log in. So I don't know when PulseCon's going down. I can just tell you that you probably should be prepared to be disappointed. Anything that is Hasbro Pulse related, meaning through their fan site that you can even pay extra money for to supposedly get VIP access, just doesn't seem to pan out. We've talked about that with Trevor. He pays the $50 and he can't even get into the system before everything sells out to the bots of the eBay crowd. So just prepare for disappointment. That's how I'm going into this, because there's at least one figure here that I have to have, which means I know I will not get for retail. And that, my friends, is the first ever official Trapper Wolf Black Series figure. And if you know your shit, you know that it's essentially a Dave Filoni figure. That's right, because he plays Trapper Wolf in the Mando. So Dave is getting his first official picture or figure, and just like George before him, he is a Rebel pilot. I don't know how many people remember, but there is a figure from, I think, Celebration 3 that I waited many hours to get, and I hope I find it one day. But he was called George Sackle. So George Lucas backwards, but he was a Rebel pilot, and it really was Lucas. And they've kind of done the same type of thing for Filoni here, but obviously in the Black Series line and with photo real face apps and all that fun stuff. So Trapper Wolf is the first, like, oh my God. I mean, this is the first figure I've really seen and gone, fuck. This one I have to get. Yes.
It gets you back to that level of like collecting envy almost.
And I know I just said earlier that I thought I was getting through a lot of that, and I am, but this is just one of those figures that's going to be hard not to get day one.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, you don't care what this is a Dave Filoni figure.
Of course.
Like you said, like Trapper Wolf, whatever, like this is a Dave Filoni figure, and I need to pay homage to this man with my dollars.
Yeah, it's 100% Filoni, and I'm just waiting for the Johnny Osage Avenues of the world to make him a hat, right? Because someone's going to have to make him a custom cowboy hat. All right, because while his Rebel helmet's cool and he's got the wolves on it, a Filoni action figure, an official Filoni action figure, needs the motherfucking cowboy hat as an accessory. Okay, you could pretend he was on set that day doing his little cameo, so he still had his hat with him. But this is one that I'm gonna have to get, which means it's probably gonna raise my blood pressure, which means my stroke will be even closer than it's ever been before, or I'm going to have to go on the eBay and take it up the wazoo to get them. But I don't know, man. This really is one of the first Black Series in a while that I've just been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, my God, look at this thing. I don't even care if it's a perfect Filoni. You can tell it's him. Let's do it. All right, so some of the other ones that, they're also not equally, they're pretty good exclusive offerings for Hasbro PulseCon 2021. But for the TVC crowd, you're getting an Emperor's Throne Room Dio. All right, so you get it looks like the Emperor. You get the backdrop. The old. To me, they always look like TIE Fighter windows, even though I know they're not. But
I was gonna say it's like a cutout.
For my simple mind that is hard at describing stuff. You got the Emperor's big window. You can even see the battle scene playing out there. It looks like they included that in the print. You got the Emperor's throne and then the Emperor himself. So that's got
a nice little cane too.
Yeah, I'd argue that Homeboy's robe is a little off on the TVC Emperor right here. I mean,
it's a little baggy, right? Like it's a little too I don't know.
It's like Sheev had a secret older brother and he took his older brother's robe to wear one day instead of his.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then the final Hasbro PulseCon exclusive again is another set that I know people are going to go crazy for, and trust me, I'd love to get it too if it's going to happen. But you have a recreation in the Black Series scale of a Power of the Force kind of Dio scene from back in the days of the Cantina showdown between Dr. Evazan, however the hell you say his name, Ponda Baba.
Cornelius Evazan.
There you go, Evazan. Yeah. Nick had it. Ponda Baba and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So you actually get those three figures in the 1/12 scale. The Kenobi, so what? We've had multiple of him, but not Ponda in the dock. Plus, you get a little cross-section of Chalum's Cantina bar. For photographers, people like that, this is a nice set because you essentially get the Dio built into it. But again, I must caution all of you collectors, these are all Hasbro PulseCon 2021 exclusives. As of right now, I think you can just go out to it's still just a mailing list sign up to get more fucking spam from them. Really, Hasbro Pulse's emails, they're like dick teases. Because we're like, hey, we got all these new figures, buy them now. And you click on the buy now, like as soon as the email comes, and they're all fucking sold out. Exclusives or standards, it doesn't matter. If you buy from the people that actually make these fucking things, they're always out of stock first. All right, so I don't know when this is coming. I'm trying to not know when it's coming so I can kind of stave off the FOMO for a little bit. I'd rather the day just show up and be like, hey, it's this time, this window, this site. Here we go. Pucker up those assholes. Hit the add to cart button. Okay. So that's that. Like we don't really have any more details outside of these three figures. That's Trapper, TVC Throne Room, and the POTF set of the Cantina Showdown. We just know they're Hasbro PulseCon 2021 exclusives. And it seems these days, Nick, due to the pandemic and stuff not fully open yet, at least on the con circuit, every toy maker is having their own con this year because we got a little news today. There's a Funkon, so a FunkoCon, Funkon 2021. God. And of course, they're going to have exclusive pops there. And today they revealed some Star Wars exclusive pops in the form of, check out some of these names. I don't know what the hell. It's like they're listening to the Beatles catalog or something. But you got Across the Galaxy Rey.
Which makes no sense when you look at the figure.
Okay. I'm assuming that's because she was a tinkerer on Jakku, and then she got picked up and was taken all around the galaxy to find Luke on Acto.
Why not just like Scav Rey?
Yeah, it's like, all right, whatever. And then Star Wars Rebels Imperial Commando. So these are, at least for now, the two Funkon 2021 exclusive Funko Pops. They still look great. I mean, I still like the pop aesthetic. It's just nothing I feel that I can dump the money and time in it I used to do. So if you're a diehard Funkoer out there, that's why I still do this for you, to let you know. But you got two exclusive Star Wars Funko Pops for Funkon 2021. Apparently on August 4th, you can sign up for the what is known as the Funko Shit Show Lottery to try and get some of these exclusives. But apparently these will be for sale on sites like Funko.com, Loungefly, and other partners. So you Funko collectors, you Funko fans, I know you know where all this stuff is at, so we'll just leave it at that. And according to Bat in the chat, which is coming from Yakface, which we all know he gets some of the best toy leaks out there, apparently there's going to be some pre-orders, Star Wars pre-orders coming up next week. I don't think those are the PulseCon, but maybe some of these other ones that Hasbro's been revealing over the summer. All right, my friend. Did we hit everything we wanted to hit? Because I know
we hit everything.
All right. It's fan segment time. Did we get yeah, we even got questions of the week. All right.
We got questions and answers in there. I mean, I didn't put the questions.
How did they do this?
We have answers in there.
Did we have decent replies, or back to the
We did. We had a few. We had a few replies, and I think that a lot of them were a little bit focused on, obviously, the question every week is, what was your favorite part of the most recent Bad Batch episode, which this one was season 1, episode 11, The Devil's Deal. And I think that a lot of people enjoyed seeing Hera, and that kind of made its way through a lot of the answers. But we'll kick it off with Mr. Max Maldini, and his answer was, of course, the moment where Chopper and Hera appeared on screen was one that brought me joy. It's so great that the Bad Batch intertwines the stories of characters we know and love. This brings more depth and meaning to Hera's character. There we go. So people like seeing Hera. Of course they do. Next up, we got Mr. Lima 4.
Hey,
Lima 4
the new daddy.
Photos. Here we go. Yes, congratulations. He says, basically every moment showing the visible hesitation of Clone Captain Hauser to follow questionable orders and still get away with it without being branded a traitor, or at least being looked at with suspicion by his fellow clones / Imperial commanders. looks like he's being set up for something big down the road. Damn, I guess I'll have to make some space for a new Black Series clone on my shelf sometime soon.
Well, that's what the
Hauser.
The chat came in, Nick, and said, I don't know, maybe I think they're agreeing with you because they're saying because Hauser got an action figure, that means he may survive. So
he may make it. Yeah, he's not a one and doneer.
I'm still saying Hauser's dead by the
shoot him down.
He's dead by this Friday.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Next up, BPP_Hayes says the pure evil of Crosshair. He's such a great villain. He doesn't hesitate to pull the trigger. It not even doesn't hesitate to pull the trigger. Says to aim for the kid.
Yeah, I mean,
like he's trying, like just
Crosshair. Really, I mean, he always seemed to be angry.
Yeah,
but this guy is fully embraced the chip. But we also have to remember, you got to remember, the very first episode, Tarkin specifically had the Kaminoans like amp his up to an increased level, even beyond the regular clones. So maybe that's why he's
exactly.
I mean, he's like
super evil.
He's worse than I'd even say he may be worse than Vader and Palpatine in terms of the atrocities he's willing to commit.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like kill indiscriminately. Like maybe, not as bad as Palpatine, but like definitely like Vader had even some sympathy in him, like from other stuff that we've seen him in outside of the movies.
I don't know. I don't ever see Vader saying aim for the kid. I don't even see Palpatine saying it unless it was like let's pretend that he found Luke Skywalker earlier and he just wanted to, eliminate it. But I don't know, man. Crosshair might be the meanest motherfucker in all of Star Wars.
He's definitely fighting for that fucking title. That's for sure. I mean, he's just got no mercy. And I think that's exactly what Tarkin and the rest of the, the Imperial superstructure
wants. Which again,
wants,
makes Tarkin's pitch to get rid of clones ridiculous because he already has a picture-perfect example of what happens if they just turn up the chip to fucking nut job level, right?
Yeah, turn it up to 11.
You essentially have a robot that will do anything and everything you tell them to do, including murder families, babies. It doesn't matter. Won't even bat an eye. Like anybody. It doesn't even bat a fucking eye. Let's go back to the first Ultra Dark moment with Crosshair. With Saw Gerrera's people.
Yeah, he just indiscriminately kills all of those people, and then half of them weren't even. Well, most of them were just like
fucking women and children. And he killed an Imperial for not doing it right away.
Yeah, and they weren't even rebels. Like those were just refugees.
Exactly.
Like we're not anybody.
He is something.
We just want to go home.
He is something. I still think he's gonna have a tragic redemption. I do think something will happen where he's probably going to die to allow his former friends or even Omega to get away from the ultimate evil. But my God, have they done a brilliant job at really setting him up to be a douche?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate all that, like all the ways that they've built him into like
he's so fucked up. I would almost probably smile when he gets killed. Like he is a bad dude.
Depending on how he goes out, it may elicit like a little golf clap, like whew, he's gone. But all right, last up, Paul 6 says, I enjoyed Rebels, so was happy to see some pre-Rebels development and Chopper and even the crashed Y-Wing.
Paul 6, I
was going to say the crash Y-Wing.
I don't think we can call it a Y-Wing at that point, but I know what he was talking about because I saw it too, and I actually rewinded to see it. I don't know if they were making Y-Wings at that point in time, because they still would have had some BTLs sitting around at least. But trust me, Paul 6, if you listen, when I was watching it last week with my notepad, I know the exact scene he's talking about. It's when Hera's brought back from spying in the Syndulla compound. It does look like there is a crashed Y-Wing, but I don't know if the timeline works out to where you would have a crashed Y-Wing outside. I mean, maybe it was BTL pieces, who knows, but I'm a weirdo, so here we go. That's at least why I didn't include it as an egg, because I just like, there's no way. There's no way.
All right, that's all of the question responses for this week.
No,
Thank
you had one more.
who-
It looks like you got one from our special guest today.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you had Johnny
here,
on there.
I do. Johnny Osage says the Hera/Luke comparison of flying away even with the music. So, yeah, I mean, like Hera's whole journey and like her like obsession with flying, kind of similar to Luke.
Well, that's
then,
a good point,
like-
because I was going to say this, and there you go. I just stepped on Nick. Sorry, buddy. I've been trying a little bit better this week. But do you think it's odd that Hera is essentially longing to live on a starship because she is home with her family? But by the time we meet her in Rebels, obviously her mother's dead. She's estranged from her father. It's like, it's funny how we are when we're young and then how we may be when we're old. Because I'd imagine by the time we meet Hera in Rebels that she probably doesn't want to be living on the Ghost at all times, on the run.
On a starship.
Right. She probably would rather be with her mom and father.
It's the child,
of course,
in her,
right?
But like you could even liken that to like us as kids. Like we always wanted to be somewhere else, regardless of how good your childhood was or how well you were raised. You always wanted to be somewhere else. It was like, I want to go to Mars, or I want to go to the moon, or any of that kind of shit. Like, I think it's just like that nature of a child to be like, I want to fly to the stars and I want to live on a starship.
Yeah,
and
everything's
blah, blah,
cooler
blah.
than being with your parents when you're a kid, right?
Everything is just the least cool.
Well,
thing.
Now,
like, I don't want to be
if
here.
we take Johnny's point with Luke, because Luke was the same way. I want to get the fuck out off this farm. Fuck this. There's adventure awaits. Yet he goes back. He was still going to go back, and he sees his only family, burnt to a crisp.
Just fucking
yeah.
And then,
so he too is.
And then it was almost like, well, now for both of them, they were essentially forced into the life that they longed for. I think that Luke figured out very quickly from his time with Obi-Wan, maybe, Alderaan, I'll take you to fucking Tashi Station.
Oh, yeah, no, Luke wanted nothing to do with helping that old crazy hermit. Like, he's like, hey, I gotta get through this farm season, pal.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take you to Anchorhead, and that'll be about it. But both of them ended up in the situation that they wanted to be by essentially their family getting killed. Yeah, which is the worst way to get there. There are some good comparisons.
Interesting,
between Luke
and we know
Hera,
throughout Star Wars and this was Lucas's mantra. He likes to mirror stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Very similar things will happen across the trilogies and in almost mirrored moments. All right, we got a question here from Rick. Is Hera's family ship the same model as Boss? I don't think so, because the Houndstooth is very boxy looking and has wide wings. I'm very familiar with the Houndstooth because it's a great ship in SWTS. Gobi's ship, to me, it had hints of the Razor Crest. It had hints of Clone Wars era Separatist droid ships. I mean, it was a very unique looking ship. It had almost like a flying saucer on the top and on the bottom. It was very. Yeah. It wasn't a very long ship either. It was a tall ship.
It almost I'll drop the link because they have it on Star Wars Database. If you look at just the cockpit area, it almost is kind of Slave One looking.
Well, I was just going to say, Nick, the way the ship is designed, it's more of a vertical ship like the Slave One versus like a Razor Crest or a Falcon.
The Houndstooth is way more.
It was a very interesting looking ship. Honestly, it kind of looked non-functional. It's like, what the fuck is this thing? I mean, I guess it's a slim profile for firefights, but it didn't look like it had hardly any cargo area or places for people to sit. So, hey, speaking of SWTS, Nick, guess what happened?
Oh no, what happened?
The guild, we had an account that I guess would float around from people that wanted alts, and the guy running it, Darth Vader, is like, you know what? I don't want to run 2 accounts anymore. So he asked if I wanted to take it on. So I've inherited a 7+ million GP SWTS account.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got pretty much all the GLs unlocked
Everything
outside of Sith Eternal. It's almost the JMK, the new GL. So it's been neat. I feel a little more stressed because I now have a real account and I feel like I got to perform a bit more. But someone playing the game since day one and mostly doing it for free and really always feeling like, I'm never going to get any of the old stuff. It's pretty neat having the all that,
well, now
all those
all
tunes.
of that not paying for anything has paid off because now you get everything for free.
Yeah,
that's pretty
so
dope.
I was going to offer you my account, but I know you've completely walked away from the game because I believe I'm at I think I'm almost 5.8 million GP. It's not a crazy account, but it's not horrible either.
No, somebody else will put that to better use.
Yeah, well, someone in the guild, they're like, hey, I'm thinking about an alt, so if none of your friends take it on, could I take it? I was like, hey, might as well keep the Matty one, hey, Wobie alive in some form or fashion. I did put a lot of time into that account, so.
I was going to say, that's like years upon years of
Bro, day one. I mean,
that.
I am a day one goer, and as of right now, I still put the time in. It still gives me some form of enjoyment. It is nice having all these beefed up squads now, but like I said, the pressure's on because I got to pull my weight in territory battles now and territory wars. No more bullshit because I have shitty toon squads. All right, it's been a while since we spoke Swago because you quit on me. I kind of miss the old Swago days.
I let it go. Maybe one day, like months down the line, I'll be like, I need another mobile game to play. The new Conquest mode they added is pretty fun. I mean, it offers a new way to play. I played that a little bit.
You got the Razor Crest to unlock through there. You got Commander Tano to unlock through there. So I'm still digging it. It's still a grind and a half and clearly caters to whales, but whatever. It gives me a few hours every night to just fuck off on my phone while I'm pretending.
You literally, if you're not going to pay, you just have to be okay with I'm just going to I'm not going to get all the new shit for years.
Right.
Like all the new shit is going to be old by the time that I get it.
Exactly.
You have to be okay.
I mean,
with that.
my account, I just caught up with Jedi Master Luke, and I was going to be able to get Jedi Master Kenobi in a decent amount of time. But outside of that, I never would have been able to go back and get Supreme Leader or Rey. I mean, they're too far gone on my old account to ever have the time to get those and not miss the next future GL. All right. I know a lot of people tune out when we talk Swago. So let's go ahead and transition into the last segment of the day. Everyone's favorite, at least those that stick around for the 3+ hours, and that is the top 5 Star Wars featured artists of the week. And this week we're counting 7.5 to 7.12. And yes, just like I always say, the way to get involved is follow us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. Tag us in all your Star Wars art posts or just any type of Star Wars posts and use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. And even though I was at an amusement park for a few days last week, I still got out the shares because I am a dedicated OCD Star Wars content curator. I do literally feel if I do not do a feature of any kind on a day, that I will die and the podcast will be dead within a week. So I do have mental problems, but that's why I remain committed to posting every day so Nick on Monday can wade through the sea worth of shots to find his favorite 5, which brings us to the top 5 segment. Nick, so who do we got first this week? Oh, you did first. You did double first and first this week, and this is one of them right here.
I did? Yep. Okay. I figured because at Toy Exposures is definitely not an account that I was familiar with, but he hit straight to the heart of me with this shot here. So what we see are 2 stormtroopers, very weathered looking, out in the middle of the desert. And what do they have with them? They have 2 combs. And if you are a fan of Spaceballs, you know exactly where this comes from. They were literally so Dark Helmet, aka Rick Moranis, tells
comb the desert
his troopers to comb the desert. Yes. So what do you see eventually? Like 10, 15 minutes later, you literally see four troopers, one of them with like a regular comb, one of them with a pick, just combing through the sand. Found anything? We ain't found shit.
And gags like that, you know, when you're a little kid, I mean, I was little when I watched Spaceballs. Stupid visual gags like that. I mean, now when you see it, you're like, it was so fucking funny. I mean, that is like, Mel Brooks is the greatest, you know, visual gag type of guy like that. I mean, if you're too young to know who Mel Brooks is, do yourself a service and check out some of his films. They're gonna look a little dated, but I promise you, if you haven't seen them before, just some of the slapstick shit and again the visual humor like this comb in the desert, you'll understand why this guy was kind of a king of that type of storytelling back in the day. I believe he's still alive. I don't know if he still writes for anything.
He is. He's up in his 90s, and actually, you know, it's I don't know if you ever knew about this, but he actually did make a Spaceballs animated series, and it flopped hard.
Okay.
I think like 2 episodes came out. He's 95 right now. So he's still alive. His birthday was actually recently. His birthday was June 28th. But they made a Spaceballs animated series, and like I watched the first episode and I was like, oh man, this is just fucking bad. It was just like so weird, and like it didn't even feel like Spaceballs. It was just so weird. But yeah, I mean, like his shit, like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein,
they don't really
Spaceballs.
do movies like that anymore, do they? Like a Mel Brooks just kind of goofy movie. I mean, Blazing Saddles these days probably couldn't get made with some of this shit.
Because there was some racist shit in there. I mean, like the whole story behind, well, not the whole plot of that movie just wouldn't fly now. Like you couldn't do it.
Sorry, I've got the scene of the old lady looping in my head right now when she walks up to the sheriff. It's just.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
So, like, there's so much like fucked up stuff in there, but
he was. I mean, it's not like Mel was a racist. He was doing it to show you how fucking horrible racist people are. I mean, but yeah, Blazing Saddles. That if you've never seen that, holy shit! Especially you youngins, you would be like, oh my god, they used to let this stuff out on TV or in the movie theaters, and
it was people loved it, man, and like it was an era of time where you could make movies that were solely spoofs of other movies, and like you haven't been able to do that in a while.
That genre luckily died because it was getting stupid with like all the scary movies or whatever they called it.
Yeah, like the first 2 or 3 scary movies were fine.
Good luck.
After that, it got a little squirrely. So, but yeah, man, if you haven't seen any Mel Brooks stuff, definitely.
Did he do the History of the World too? Is that Mel?
History of the World Part 1? That was Mel. Yeah, History of the World Part 1. Yeah, I mean, he did a bunch of stuff. Robin Hood Men in Tights. That's Mel.
I think only the old fans have any clue who we're talking about right now or the movies. But that's fine. Trust me. This is like, if you're into cinema and you like just watching film, I do believe these are some movies that have historical significance for the genre and just the shit he would do. I mean, he was very he wasn't scared to kind of highlight some stuff in a humorous way.
Yeah, dude, I fucking loved it. Spaceballs is one that I can watch any day of the week. It's just so fucking funny. I'm surrounded by assholes. There's just so many things in that movie.
Ludicrous speed, and you see Rick Moranis.
Dude, and it's so hilarious when you look at fucking Tesla and what Elon Musk does. He literally, like in Teslas, there's a ludicrous speed button.
I know, I love it.
And then the new vehicle is called the Model S Plaid because that's what happens. It's like they've gone to plaid. So like you know that Musk is a Spaceballs fan.
Oh my god!
From that shit.
I got to get recomposed. Just Blazing Saddles. I'm just like looping through some of the shit they would do to that poor sheriff. It's just like my god. Mongo.
Dude.
Mongo punching out the horse. Okay. But the old lady just gets me every time. It's like, Jesus Christ. Dude. And that's how people are still to this day. So, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, at Toy Exposure. We just kind of dominated at Toy Exposure's exposure by reminiscing about Mel Brooks.
Man, That's why I picked this though, is because when I saw this, it immediately brought me right back to Spaceballs and Mel Brooks, and it's fucking great. So at Toy Exposures on IG, go give him a follow. Hilarious posts right now, and you can see that he does like to do the crossover type of stuff. So.
Is it when he says I'm surrounded by assholes, and when that one guy turns around, his fucking eyes are crossed, right?
His eyes are crossed. Yeah, he's like fire away, and like they're just missing everything. He's like, what's wrong? And he picks him up. He like lifts his fucking thing up, and his eyes are crossed. He's fucking cross-eyed. He can't hit shit.
It's so dumb, but it's just like when you see it for the first time. I mean, a lot of the gags kind of get burnt the first time you see it, but dude, I remember seeing that movie in theater, and even the beginning when the fucking ship takes like a minute and a half to get.
Yeah. To just fucking pass through.
Does it say "eat my space dust" or something?
Yes, he's like, "Who is this man?" And he's like, "He's an asshole, sir." He's like, "I know that. What's his name?" He's like, "No, his name, Philip A. Asshole." It's like, and it's just so funny. It's so funny. I'm telling you, have to go. If you're a listener of the show, I'm pretty sure that it's streaming somewhere. You just go watch Spaceballs. It's fucking worth it.
Holy shit! Okay,
for any Star Wars
we got to get through this. I'm losing.
All right,
I'm fucking cheesing out, and I haven't even like vaped or anything. I'm legit having a cheese right here. Okay.
All right. Next up, I picked a lot of fun ones this week. I picked a lot of different things. So this one we have here is from @afol.me on Instagram, afol.me, and it's a Lego shot of like a rock star Leia. So it's like Princess Leia Lego holding a guitar, and she's on stage, and you can see like the lights coming, like the show lights coming down, and then like all the sparkles and shit. Like Leia is a rock star, and I just thought it was
sorry,
cool
AFOL. I'm not laughing at your shot. I clearly cannot recover from Nick bringing up the asshole family again on Spaceballs. just the line and seeing the dude's face and his eyes crossed as the gunner. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
So good.
My God, what is wrong with me?
All right, so I mean, like, it's a pretty simple shot.
I love Lego shots. I know they don't always do as well, but I just, especially the zoomed in focus that afol.me went with to really make that little minifigure feel larger than life. I mean, I know it's a Lego, but it really does kind of look like a real Lego Princess Leia.
Like a full-sized.
Having her as a rock star is fantastic. And actually, afol.me does BTS. And I'm sorry, it's like, man, I really should start maybe getting back into toy photography with Legos, because you can do some banging shit with, I mean, I believe this is like an iPad mini for the background and a cup or something. Because they are so small, you can really pack in a lot to make dioramas and stuff and really blend them into the dio quite well. And that's where...
dude, that's literally what it is. It's
right?
The background of...
and he's like, it's like on a cup, crazy. Right? Or I guess we can't go to the...
It's like some sort of like little plastic, just like clear plastic stand,
right.
You know, like almost looks like it came off the top
but
of
even her smile, I don't know if that's legit or if he digitally altered it to kind of give her that shit-eating grin, like, oh yeah, I'm a rock star. Great. But no, I really like the shot. And this was the other first and first. So you went first and first and second. So good for you.
Wow. There we go. So at afol.me on Instagram. Love the shot. Love the pose for Leia. It was just a really fun little image. So next up is at SWTS Spencer, and I know that he's a big prominent member of the community, but he's got a really cool shot here of Grogu in training with Jedi Master, Jedi Knight Luke in the background. So you see little Grogu standing on a tree stump, and he's doing his rocks training like Luke used to do on Dagobah. So he's got a rock, he's lifting it up, and then in the background you can see Jedi Luke there.
I like the forced perspective that Spence went with on Grogu while keeping Luke kind of out of focus. I do dig that.
Yeah,
Spencer just, I mean, he he's got a setup down for indoor shoots. I know he predominantly shoots indoors. But he's got these great trees. I don't know if he made those or bought them from the customizers. Does sometimes mixes in some digirama, but always has some practical stuff in the foreground to really sell the setup. He's always got very nice warm tones. I think I featured two of Spence's this week. The other one was a great shot of the Slave One, aka Boba Fett's starship, and Boba Fett kind of walking away from it. It was a mixed scale shot. It was really, really well done. But Spencer is, I don't know if people know this, I believe he is the first toy photographer to ever get picked up officially by StarWars.com. I think he had it in his stories today, actually. It was 5 years ago today. Someone from StarWars.com hit him up to feature his very early Star Wars photography, and that's kind of what got at SWTS up and juiced. That's awesome. But I do believe he was one of the first, if not the first, to officially get contacted by something legit Star Wars to feature his toy photography.
Official Star Wars. There you go. I mean, setups like this are reasons why Spencer's account has grown over 16,000 followers. I mean, it's really cool. I like you said, the perspective that's used here. I like the setup, the practical setup, and then probably using a little bit of digirama in the to fill in the background.
Yep.
So solid work. Yeah, you can see he's got his BTS there too. It almost looks like doesn't even look like it's a digirama. It almost looks like it's like a picture
painting.
That's just in the background.
He goes painting. Old school. I mean, he's like original trilogy, and he'll do literally matte. Like, what do they call them? I think they call them matte paintings, right? That would be the background. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's either his big ass TV or Nick's right. Yeah, there's something back there.
Yeah, so really cool stuff at SWTPics, SWITTPICS on the IG. Go give them a follow. Well worth it. Next up, we have another bunch. Like I said, I just went with like funny shots.
I actually remember. I'm going to go to the artist's actual post because there's a good caption here that I think other kids of the 80s may pick up on. But just looking at this, if you've watched horror movies in the 80s, does Grogu coming out of the toilet remind you of any type of horror creatures that were in toilets?
Oh gosh!
And again, it depends if you watch this franchise or not. You were probably way too young.
This might have been before me, but it's at toy_Paloy on Instagram, and what we see is Grogu coming out of a toilet and kind of reaching towards Mando, and Mando's like leaning over. He's like, "What?" He almost looks like confused. He's like looking at Grogu.
So here's the caption,
and it's like a full bathroom setup.
Here's the caption that and kind of pay off on what I was saying. It says, "Oh, you're pretending to be a ghoulie, are you? Here, let me get that flush for you. Ha ha ha. Okay, calm down. I was only kidding." So that's again, if you were born in 70s, 80s, you may have watched the Ghoulies movie when you were probably too young, as I did. But yeah, I believe there was a scene where one comes out of the toilet just like this and almost looks like Grogu and probably ate someone's ass and balls to death. But I'm with you. It's just I love the setup. I love the actual. It's a practical toilet. It looks like little porcelain cups and shit down there too. I mean,
like he really sells the setup with all of the practical things that he uses. Like there's like a little, like a toilet mat, like a little foot mat.
Oh yeah.
There's like some I think it was a pretty well staged scene. And it's just really fun to see. Like
it's definitely a fun setup to see little Grogu. And honestly, I would believe Grogu would do something like go swimming in toilets because I don't want to call him a pet. Kids sometimes act like pets, and they may try to drink out of the toilet. Or speaking of toilets and kids, yesterday my daughter had her first massive toilet clogging. Because she still believes, as I did when I was her age, that you need to use damn near half a roll of toilet paper to wipe your ass. And the best part is she still did not have her ass completely clean. So after I showed her how you can take out a long strip and then fold, wipe, fold,
Fold
wipe,
it.
fold, wipe. I plunged it. It was funny. Like, you could tell, you know how when you're little and you fuck up, like, you fuck up and you're just waiting for the hammer to fall. Cause she always spends a lot of time on the toilet, as I did when I was young, and I do now. I mean, that's why I have a fucking hemorrhoid, for Christ's sake. But I'm like, hey, Charlie, what are you doing in there? And she opens the door and looks up at me like, I was trying to fix this on my own. You know, it's just a look that parents get. I was trying to fix this on my own, but it ain't happening. And if I try to do one more thing, I'm really going to fuck up. So, okay, now you can see what I've been doing in here. And she opens the door. Literally, Nick, the fucking toilet, like shit toilet water is at the crest of the seat. I mean, another 3 ounces and we're getting a poo waterfall coming over the toilet.
Oh, no.
So luckily we had a plunger in there. I stick it in and I got the bubble to go right away, so it sucked itself down. And she's like, oh, that's what that stuff's for. And I'm like, yeah, well, can we please work on your toilet paper use? There's no need to. All little kids do it. They'll grab a ball, one wipe with the ball, so, you know, shit gets on their hands, throw the ball into the toilet, grab a new strip of toilet paper, ball it up, wipe the ball, throw it in the toilet. So hopefully it was a learning lesson for her. I actually didn't freak out. I've been trying to get better at that, because I've been told that my presence sometimes makes people I know and love feel on edge, which is not something you want to hear when your own father made you feel that way when you were a little kid. So I don't know. You know, you learn some shit the older you get, and learning experience. I'm trying to correct it, because my kid's already scared of me when she gets hurt. She automatically thinks I'm going to yell at her for having an accident, and that's fucked up. But at least yesterday she let me in before she completely flooded the bathroom with poo water. So, anyways, that was a little poo tangent, only because we were looking at a shot that involved a poo receptacle.
And it was a great use of the poo receptacle by @ToyPoloi, TOY_POLLOI on Instagram. Go give him a follow. It looks like it's a relatively new account, only 400 followers. So yeah,
there you go. Greggy boy knows what I'm talking about. Gregu's in here. He found a dinosaur down his toilet. So again, that's why I'm happy to not have a son. I was actually glad to have a daughter. If I ever had another kid, which probably not going to happen, I would want another daughter. Boys are they're I don't want that responsibility of raising a boy. I know my life's going to become hell when she gets older. I get that part. But as a man, I didn't want to be directly responsible for raising another Haywood male, okay? Because a lot can go wrong. Like, you guys have seen me get off the rails just on stupid shit. Like, it happens for a reason. Like, there's some chemistry in here that is not normal. So I didn't want that responsibility. And boys are just crazy. I mean, like Greg, I mean, my kid's shoving down toilet paper. His is emptying his toy box down the toilet and seeing what goes down. And that's kind of common for dudes. All right. Oh, I love this. I mean, this we're actually we're gonna have @Visual Approach Photography coming on the show coming up here in another couple weeks, I think. Nice. And I'm sure we'll talk about shots like this, but go ahead, lay it on them. This is a hell of a setup here.
So @Visual Approach Photography, another really fun setup. So this might be, you know, what Boba Fett is doing now that he has taken full control of the castle.
There you go.
Of the hideout there on Tatooine from Jabba the Hutt, and, you know, killing off everybody. So what we see is Boba sitting on a couch, got like a nice little bag of pork rinds there, and he's got a remote in his hands, flipping through TV channels, and he's got Dengar delivering him a Domino's pizza, it looks like, and then he's just got his feet kicked up on the nice Han and carbonite table, and then you can see in the background a Gamorrean guard walking in too. So I mean, this almost looks like a little Boba vacation, like a pre. Actually, this would be like episode 5 timeline. Right between ESP and ROTJ.
It's like he took Jabba the Hutt's kind of main party room and turned it into his family room for bounty hunters.
Yeah, like his living room.
I mean, the setup's fantastic, and I feel I feel like once toy photographers start getting into these types of setups, they're moving into the next echelon of photography, because I mean, we've got a recliner, we got a couch, the posing Sean did here. I mean, just look at Boba Fett for a second and understand that is a rigid piece of plastic. Yet the way Sean has him posed, everything is natural about what he's doing. From the hand going into the pork rinds, to the legs crossed, to holding the remote, to just that kind of arm up on the back of the sofa. All of it makes Boba Fett look real. And just the scenery. I mean, it really does feel like kind of a bounty hunter hive, you know, just hanging out. You got a box of donuts there. You got, a toilet paper head bringing in some eats. It looks like IG-88 might have drank too many cans of oil. He's fucking hanging out.
You even got R4 off in the back.
And just the fact that Han Solo and Carbonite is their coffee table. I mean, that's just, again, it's beautiful. It's perfect. But it does seem like toy photographers go from, starting out, hey, here's a picture, to kind of dynamic, action-oriented, atmospheric shots. And then they move into the world building, building their own dios, their own sets. I've seen Plastic Action go through this. I've seen Jason B. Michael kind of go through these stages. So it seems VAP, as I like to call him now because his name's too long, and he knows it, has entered that stage of his photography. And shit, wait till you see his shot I featured today just on our Instagram. I mean, he built a fucking practical planet for Vader to crack with the Force like Thanos did in Infinity War. Like, if fuck it, let's just go look at that right now. Let's give him double billing here.
That's so crazy.
Look at this shit.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, okay, so that's the hyperreal Vader. Everything you see here, people, if you're on the live stream, if you're not on the live stream, we're looking at hyperreal Vader with his fist up, just like the Mad Titan was in Infinity War. And behind him, you see this moon literally cracking in the center.
Correct.
But if you go look in the BTS, it's a real fucking moon that Sean crafted, cracked, put shit in it to make it look like the core was exposed. It's just amazing. Like, people,
that's just beyond.
Yeah, just the fact that, hey, I'm going to do a toy shoot today and I'm going to have Vader rip apart a planet. Never in a million years would that thought ever cross this little bird brain of mine in terms of something creative. So, that's why people like VAP explode, as they should. I mean, it's genius. The idea, just the creative capacity to think to do that, and then obviously the ability to execute it with the level of precision that visual_approach_photography employs. So
I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic.
It's crazy, man.
So, like Matt said, at Visual Approach Photography on IG, go give him a follow. He got
a lot of good use out of all those props, Nick, are from NECA. They're a NECA prop pack. I don't know if it's the exact one, but the pizza, maybe even the little TV, the pork rinds, they're all from Ninja Turtles, from the Ninja Turtles movie props. So
that makes sense.
Well used in Star Wars as well from Visual Approach Photography.
All right. Well, that's the end of the top 5 this week, and that's the end of our show. Matt, good to have you back.
All right.
And let's close this one out.
Yeah, I think I'm back for 2 more, and then I'm out for my last vacation of the year, but we'll figure it out. Unfortunately, it is still during Bad Batch, so I'm going to be experiencing some of my SWTS FOMO and OCD. So I might bring my road set up just in case I really feel the need to talk Star Wars to a few of you on vacation. Yes, I'm that crazy.
Yeah.
I did it when I went to Rehoboth Beach. Nick and I recorded an episode while I was there. So yes, I don't lie. But anyways, as Nick said, it's time to put episode 170 to bed. Maybe one of these days we'll get to 1138. You never know. That would be many, many years down the road. Nick and I would probably be dead. But anyways, we appreciate you. I really do. Like the stuff Johnny said today, that's why I do what we do. It's the feedback. I would love the following. Don't get me wrong. I'm human. Anyone that says they don't care about a following and they have a social media presence, they're on drugs. unless it's truly just like a family account. But we're trying to make some content. We're trying to keep people entertained, Star Wars fans in particular. So to hear that, you know, we're a part of someone's regularly scheduled programming, you know, that means a lot. And, you know, let's get about 1,000 more Johnnies, and maybe one of these days I'll shut the fuck up. Okay? It's all about shutting me up at this point, as I can tell from the feedback we get. So I'll tell you what, you know, if we have a thousands and thousands of followers deep, I promise you, I will just sit here and nod my head as Nick talks the entire time. All right? So don't forget, my friends, if you are new to this little show called the Star Wars Time Show, make sure to head on over to StarWarsTime.net. That is our home base. That's where you're going to find all the content we typically talk about each week on the live stream, which goes down every Tuesday via our YouTube channel, which you can also find and auto-subscribe to by going to StarWarsTime.net. Just scroll down, you'll see it in the sidebar there. It's our lovely little logo. I'm the angry guy, Nick is the focused Jedi. But the real secret here, the special sauce, is that subscribe button. Click on it, subscribe, we're good to go. All right? And speaking of it, if you're still watching this video now live, and if you haven't already liked it, or if you're not already subbed, go ahead and hit those buttons, as they say in professional YouTube land, right? How'd you like my latest breakdown? I tried to do a call to action like all the famous YouTubers tell me to do. It got us a few new subs, so maybe it worked. Hopefully someone bought some Manscaped, because if you go to Manscaped right now, manscaped.com, you can save 20% off plus free shipping by using SWTS. So as you can see, my friends, the Star Wars Time Show through StarWarsTime.net and SWTS on Manscaped.com has you covered. All things Star Wars, because there's always time for Star Wars time. That's why we do what we do. It's clearly not for the fame and glory. It's because there is always time for Star Wars time. And besides, you diehards know this. Let's get the new listeners to realize this. If you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you. Always.